And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 5th round of the 10th season of the Bandit Racing League, here as usual on the Full Send Racing Network. We are back as always, and what a night we're in for tonight at the Monster Mile, the track NASCAR just recently visited with its top two major series this past weekend in in Dover in the American Northeast, the land about as close as you're going to get to my neck of the woods up there in Canada, on the NASCAR schedule. Well, tonight is a very exciting race, and it's a very fun sponsor, something a little bit different than a company or corporation we're happy to shout out, but this time something a little bit different. Welcome to the Alba Turns 4 124 at Dover here for the 5th round of the 10th season of the Bandit Racing League, and that is in honor of Alba Hart, the daughter of Ricky Hart Jr., one of our most successful drivers historically in this series, driver of the number 1 car. His daughter Alba just turned 4 this past weekend, and the reason that this is so notably significant is because she went to her first NASCAR race. You see pictures there on the right of their time at the real-life Dover Motor Speedway this past weekend, and what a race it was in real life. Unfortunately, it was rained out to the Monday, so I guess Monday effectively would have been the first race Alba got to witness as far as a newfound race fan there in the Hart family. So hopefully she had a great time, and we will do a variety of things to mention her tonight. But we want to give a happy birthday to Alba on behalf of the entire series and on behalf of the Full Send Racing Network. So we'll do 124 laps tonight, and of course it is May 4th, 2022. So the 4 is going to be a strong theme in tonight's race. But we are now ready to go. I just want to very quickly, right off the jump here, want to let you guys know that we did briefly have some stuttering issues there in the pre-show. Hopefully they should be gone, and I believe I've made some changes to get those fixed. So hopefully we'll be smooth sailing for the rest of the broadcast. But joining alongside me today is, not the guy that we usually have up here in the broadcast booth. Unfortunately, Evan Wall was busy tonight on this current occasion, will not be able to make it in a commentary role tonight, but we're joined by a guy who's joined us in the past, a series driver in this very series, and a guy who's had quite a bit of success for himself in the past, maybe not quite so much to start off this year, but it's been a tough year for a couple of drivers just based on some bad luck. So he joins us tonight, and he's always a pleasure to have in the broadcast booth. How you doing, Chris? Mr. Chris Ferrara.
Hey, Marshall. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I'm excited to get back. We had a week off here, and we had some time to take a break, and you joined us tonight. We were talking a bit before the race started about what to expect here tonight at the Monster Mile, and just before we get into tonight's action, just what do you expect after watching NASCAR in the real world tackled over this past weekend? What do you expect the Bandit Racing League to see in tonight's race?
Well, I certainly think that iRacing does a really good job trying to simulate what actually happens in real life here at this track. I think that what you're going to see is a lot of guys shooting off really fast out of the box, using up their stuff and kind of falling back. If you're not protecting that right front on this racetrack within 10, 15 laps, you're going to be regretting it. So it's really about managing those tires and making sure you can make a full run. And then also green flag pit stops. If we get them, that is really going to mess up some guys' day. So pay attention for that.
Yeah, Dover Motor Speedway has an infamously difficult pit road. As you see there on the left-hand side, one of our Consolation races to officially declare a field for tonight's race at Dover is now underway. So we will check in with that in just a moment when we get to your final results, and we can declare your Rogue Energy Pull Award winner once we know for a fact who that'll be. But the green flag pit stops at Dover, always infamously difficult. It is an aggressive turn onto the pit road, as you'll see once we get into the race proper. Maybe we'll do a lap around here in just a moment with some of these guys running the Consolation race. But yeah, we're now 5 races into the season, so we get a bit of a chance to go over your point standings heading into tonight's race after the 4th race of the season a couple weeks back at Auto Club. And unfortunately, we do not have a proper race recap for you for that race at Auto Club, but we do want to once again congratulate our first-time series winner from a couple weeks back. Mr. Alec Daffin was our race winner and driver the number 48 there at Auto Club. So what a race win for him. Took it at the last in the last couple laps, on the last lap, I believe, from previous race leader for most of the race and hometown boy Benjamin Lacey. Again, for whatever reason, we're having some issues here with how teams show up for these drivers on the driver's point standings, but we will run you through them nonetheless. Nick Nickerson, your number 1 driver, on the top of the point standings, and that's probably not a huge shock to most of you that watch this series pretty regularly. You know, he's a former series champion. Probably the guy on a week-to-week basis that is the most terrifying driver to race against in this series, and thus very fitting that he is the leader in the points with 158. Curtis Yancey having a great year for himself. He's, again, shown even more improvement from last season. We already saw quite a bit of improvement in his patience and his racecraft last year. He's only getting better. He's at 153 points there in second. Then Benjamin Lacey, the guy that almost won the race at Auto Club, has 144 thanks to his win. 149, I should say. Thanks to his win a couple weeks back, earlier on in the series, was one of the first winners of the season. Then after that, Brett Guzik and Cale Zook round off the top 5. Ricky Hart Jr., tonight's race sponsor driver, is in the 6th spot with 126 points. Then Joshua McQuiggan, who's had a really great year for himself. Again, I always mention it, but is a Canadian like myself, one of the few in the series, and he's having a great year. I believe was fastest in practice for tonight's race here at Dover, so don't be surprised if he's pretty quick tonight at this roughly 1 mile oval. Then David Lakey, Mark Allen Bivens, your winner of the first race of the season at Daytona. And Jonathan Baker round off your top 10. We'll just quickly scroll through the rest there, and we will give you a bit of a look at what the rest of the point standings looks like. But I'm curious to know, Chris, from your perspective as a driver, are there any drivers early on in the season that have really showed out for you, or maybe have been maybe a little bit lackluster as far as points as to what you'd expect from them?
You know, I think what most surprises me this season is all of the newcomers that have come. You know, you have Bivens winning the first race of the season. Alec, he's a newcomer to Bandit Racing League. He goes out and wins in an exciting fashion at Auto Club. I think that's what's caught my eye. I think the guys that are up top in the point standings, those are people you'd expect, like Curtis and some of those other guys. So to me, I like I said, is really the newcomers that are really coming in and putting pressure on those guys that have been here for a while.
Yeah, that really has been the story of maybe even the last 2 seasons. You know, last year we saw a lot of young guys making the jump up and really improving and improvement over time in a series like this, like the Bandit Racing League that runs year over year. That's really all you can expect from these drivers, is just to get better the longer they go on. So some of these guys that have just jumped in and immediately made an impact, it really speaks to how good they could be potentially in the future in the Bandit Racing League if only 2 or 3 races into their time in the series they're already really showing out and having really great performances. So we are going to keep an eye on this race. I believe this is the second consolation race happening on the left side of your screen here, involving a couple, well, fairly big-name drivers here, surprised that need to be racing their way into the field for tonight's race. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is going to be 6 drivers, the top 6 making it into tonight's field. This race, as you'll see on the top of your screen in just a moment, is made up of Brett Grunwald, Eddie Hagge, Anthony Caetano, Hayden Paul, Nolan Gross, Travis Smith, Alan Castle, and I don't believe Bill Hales has started the race. So we're going to see a quick taste here, Chris, about what we should expect for tonight's race here at Dover. And we're seeing it with 7 drivers that are kind of a mishmash of drivers of all different experience levels and historic skill, or success levels. So as we go by turn number 1 here, you see it's Brett Grunwald. It is currently leading the race from Eddie Hagge to probably the more experienced drivers in this group, or at least more historically successful. Brett Grunwald has been so quick to start off the season. Another rookie, and Eddie Hagge, a longtime veteran of the series. So from your perspective, Chris, here at Dover, is this a track that you think is going to appeal to the guys who, as I've called them in the past, are kind of veterans who know the car, who are experienced here in these Xfinity cars, or is this a track that anybody can really thrive at?
I think this is definitely more of a driver's track. As the track rubber's in, as your tires get older, you're going to have to find speed at different points around the track. You'll see earlier in the run for the first 10, 15 laps, they're really going to want to be hugging that bottom, and you'll see guys slowly start creeping up and trying to find speed. So this, I think, is going to cater to more of that veteran-type driver that knows how to manage his tires and knows how to find different ways to get around the track rather than just sticking around the bottom the whole run. So
here in the back in this consolation race, which we are already getting towards the end of, only 7 laps, not very long. It's Nolan Gross there, the driver of the number 02 car, just ahead of Anthony Caetano, or Hayden Paul, there in the 54. And fun little battle we're seeing here off of turn number 4. It is going to be Nolan Gross who continues to lead that battle. So again, I believe it is the top 6 that are going to make it into the feature based on the number of entrants into this consolation race. But regardless, the 2 guys that I know are going to be safe, as long as they don't wreck or anything like that, is this top 2 of Brett Grunwald in the 18 and Eddie Hagge in the 97. Just been a dominant race from the 2 guys since the drop of the green flag in this quick consolation. Here comes Eddie Hagge up the inside. We got some fun side-by-side action here to start off the night. Eddie Hagge down to the bottom in that green number 97, and he's going to get the move made. So Eddie Hagge takes over the lead of this race. And again, we are 3 laps to go from the finish, and not a long consolation race here to prepare for tonight's proper event in the 5th round of the Bandit Racing League 10th season here at Dover. So, yeah, I mean, we're only 5 races into the season so far here, Chris, and it already feels like we've had maybe half a season with how many different winners we've seen, how much success we've seen from some guys that, maybe didn't have this much success at this point this early on in the previous season, in Season 9. So you got to wonder just, who is next? Are there any guys that you're looking out for as we get to the end here that maybe have gone under the radar a little bit that you think could be in for a first win of this season, or just a first win in general in the series?
And I look at a guy, several of them that are right on that cusp of where they run in the top 10 and they have that speed to get up there in the top 5 and maybe sneak out a win. I look at guys like Michael Ramos, David Lakey, that can go out and get something like that done. But the guy here that's leading this consolation race, he shows really great speed. I think that he just has really bad luck. He's one of my teammates at BC Simsport. Eddie Haggy, man, he's really good. He's really consistent. He just ends up getting caught up, and I think we're kind of in the similar situation here. But you know, he's just going to continue to stick through it. He has a great sponsor there with his mom's company. But yeah, those are some guys that I can see breaking through and getting that first win.
Awesome. Well, hey, we don't. I don't believe there's any bias in that call as a teammate, because genuinely, yeah, he has only showed an incredible amount of pace in the past. Has Eddie, and he's a guy that's joined us in the broadcast booth before. So the BC Simsport team made up primarily of guys that have commentated in the past. So that is cool to see, and hopefully we'll talk to Eddie, maybe even the broadcast booth at some point later in the year. But I always hope that guys that are confident they can have great race results, I'd rather they be out on the racetrack there trying to win races than up here just for the sake of it. But it is always a pleasure to have you joining us in the broadcast booth, Chris, and I can't wait to call this one alongside you, because genuinely, if this race is anything like what we've seen so far this season, I think we are in for a really, really good race. Just want to very quickly touch on a few things. So we're into this quick warm-up session here. I think we're just going to jump through it in a couple minutes, so not gonna stay too long on it. But let's go to your final results here for qualifying, which we're going to put up on your screen now, presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa, as always with these, anytime we show a list or a driver lineup or a starting lineup or anything like that, as always, sponsored by one of our title sponsors, Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Thank you as always for your support. Check them out. The link to their website is, as always, in the description below. But the pole sitter for tonight's race, we were just talking to him, Chris.
3 minutes to grid.
Thank you, Bill. So it's going to be 3 minutes till we get things started here. But it's just very quickly here to go over your starting lineup. The Rogue Energy Pole Award winner is going to be Brandon Jackson. Is he on the racetrack right now? Let's just keep an eye out. Now it appears he is going to stay there in the garage, just going to chill out on pit lane and get ready to go a little bit later. But Brandon Jackson, Chris, we were just talking to him a moment ago, said this is a track that he takes to quite well, that tickles his fancy, and he has not had some good luck as of late in this series. So to pick up a Rogue Energy Pole Award win to start off the night, do you think that's a good sign, or do you think stuff like that can only serve to maybe tempt the bad luck to your...
You can look at luck any way you really want to, but I will say if there's one guy that you don't want to give momentum to, it's going to be Brandon Jackson.
Yeah, I hugely agree. I mean, Action Jackson, we call him for a reason. He is, when it's his night, when he is on his game, he is borderline untouchable. Brandon is one of the best in the series on raw pace. I always tell him when I talk to him that if he could just string a series of good races together, if he could get the luck to go his way, if he could avoid incidents, then he would genuinely be one of the best in the series. As far as consistent week-to-week results, it's just it hasn't worked historically in the past for him, at least not as of yet consistently. So we can only hope this is the night, Chris, and hopefully hope this is the start of a good series campaign for him. But right now, we're just going to have to wait, because he has not entered the racetrack to show him as the Rogue Energy Pole Award winner. So other than that, we'll go over your top 5 quickly. It is Nick Nickerson, driver the number 2, going to start on the outside of the front row, already a race winner this season, and your current regular season points leader after winning the race at COTA. Then it's Sean Britt rounding off the top 3. He was very quick in practice. So was Jonathan Baker, who runs off the top 4. And Benjamin Lacey, your winner last time we came here to Dover a few seasons back. I believe he beat Brett Guzik. That was last year in season number 9. I believe Benjamin Lacey took away the win in the late stages of that race. So could be a good night tonight for Benjamin Lacey once again, and what a start to the season he's had. He dominated that race last week at Auto Club, and of course he's got to win to this point in the season. So, Chris, I mean, Benjamin Lacey, you talk about a series, or you talk about a race tonight where it's going to be about conservation of both tires and fuel. When I think conservation, I still think Benjamin Lacey, regardless of the pace he shows flat out. So do you think Benjamin Lacey's a guy that maybe if this race goes longer, stays green, where green flag pit stops, like you mentioned, are a factor, Benjamin could really benefit from that race style?
Yeah, if I think about tracks that are similar to this where you need to conserve the tire, I think of one of the other big tracks that you need to conserve tire at, which is Auto Club. And we saw earlier in the season how easily it was for him to dominate that race. It didn't work quite out the way he wanted it to, but every single time we go to a track where you have to conserve tire, he's going to be running up front. So he's definitely to keep your eye on tonight.
Well, with that, we are ready to get into your starting lineup for tonight's Alba Turns 4 124 at Dover. And what a race we are in for. I'm genuinely excited to get this one started. Seeing a lot of guys who were very quick early on, a lot of new names there as you see on the starting grid. But we've got to wait just a moment as the drivers begin to load onto the starting grid. Nobody as of yet has hopped on the racetrack, but hopefully we will see some people in just a moment. Still waiting for just a quick second. There we go. Now they're showing up. I don't know why they weren't for a moment there, but there we go. Let's run you through your starting grid here as we wait for your Rogue Energy Pull Award winner, Brandon Jackson, to roll off along with the rest of the field. There he is, driver of the number 9. So we will very quickly just pull everything down, and there you go, your Rogue Energy Pull Award winner for tonight. It is Brandon Jackson, his first of the season, driver of the number 99. Going to start alongside series points leader, Mr. Nick Nickerson. There we go, now rolling off. So he is going to take the field to green. Remember, go to rogueenergy.com, use Castle Esports for a portion off of your purchase there at rogueenergy.com. The link is, as always, in the description. Thank you to Rogue Energy, one of our main series sponsors, and one that, well, I have a very close connection with that we'll talk about later in the broadcast as it pertains to the rest of the season going forward. But let's get us started. Your starting grid for tonight, we'll run you through it. Should be 2 laps till the drop of the green flag, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we have a moment here. The lights on the pace car are off, though, so there's a good chance we could jump. Let's get you through just in case. It's going to be Brandon Jackson, driver of the number 99, on the inside of the number 2 car. A new paint scheme for Nick Nickerson of GFR Racing. He starts on the outside in front of Sean Britt and Jonathan Baker on row number 2. Then it's Benjamin Lacey alongside Kevin Foster, row number 3, McQuiggan and Yancey. Then it's Brett Guzik and Cale Zook rounding off your top 10. 2 weeks ago winner, Alec Daffin starts 11th alongside race sponsor, Mr. Ricky Hart Jr. With that, we are going to go green this lap. We'll run you through the rest of the field in a moment, but here we go, Chris. The green flag for the Alba turns 4, 124 at Dover. About to fly momentarily. Green flag for the field here in the Bandit Racing League in the Geezer Authentics Xfinity Series as Brandon Jackson, driver of the number 99, takes us to green here at Dover Motor Speedway. Good first turn there for Brandon Jackson. Clears Nick Nickerson out of turn number 2. Side by side for third. We already go here between Jonathan Baker and Sean Britt. Through turns number 3 and 4 here. Back onto the front stretch. 1 lap down out of 124. The 2 all-white cars, the 98 and the 36, are side by side there for fourth. It's going to be Sean Britt getting the better of him, so the top 5 stays the same after lap number 1. Everybody's starting to single file out here. You can already see Benjamin Lacey tucking in front of a field that is just content to kind of settle in for the time being. Whoa, in the background, somebody getting a little bit loose. Who was that? That was Curtis Yancey, driver of the number 51, running a maroon Lowe's livery, something a little bit different for the number 51 than what we're used to seeing. Curtis slotting back in, and Chris, we talked about a little bit earlier, Curtis, a guy that you think could be very quick tonight, that you think has some potential to show some pace, and he was up a spot there until that little bit of a slide, and really that consistency for him going to be the question tonight because we know he has the pace flat out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those guys that can really manage the tire really well as we have a change of the lead, Nick Nickerson to the point, but he's one of those guys that can really manage the tire really well and make his tires last over the whole run.
Yeah, you called it there, Chris. In a blink of an eye, blink and you'll miss it. Nick Nickerson takes over the race lead there up front in the number 2 car, and probably a sight that we could have maybe potentially seen considering he was on the front row. We know how quick he is, but to get up there that quick, and he's now gapped Brandon Jackson by 6 whole tenths of a second. Clearly there is pace there tonight for the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson, and man, he is just flying right now up front.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where you can shoot off really fast, but you could really hurt the tires. You really got to pay attention to that temperature on that right front. So I know Nick knows what he's doing, but it would be interesting to see when some of these guys a little bit further back in this top 10, if they'll be able to close that gap on him later on in the run.
Looking at your crank it up as the cars shoot by the screen here. Everybody's starting to get into a bit of a rhythm here. No contacts off the wall that I've seen as of yet, which is going to be a big question here. Those outside concrete walls here at Dover come up so fast. They call it the Monster Mile for a reason. This track is tough to tame, and well, here we go. A battle for second forming here between Brandon Jackson and the kind of resurgent Jonathan T. Baker. Lost a spot, but he's back up too. Sitting there in third, peeking around the inside. Gets to the inside. Going to take a look down into turn number 1. Does get side by side and does get the move. Slides up in front of him. So Brandon goes from pole all the way back to third there in just a couple of laps. So Brandon Jackson, that momentum he showed off in qualifying, maybe not seeing it so far in the race, but to just answer a question I shot in the YouTube chat just a moment ago, Cody Welch is in tonight's race. He did make the field for qualifying. However, there's already a little bit, I think, front left quarter panel damage to the number 85 car. He qualified in 21st. Currently, Cody Welch, their driver of the number 85, he is sitting in 31st position. Not the start to the race Cody Welch was hoping for, and kind of an odd night, as we're seeing early on. Not a ton of success in qualifying, and not a ton of success early on in the race for Cody. Back up here to this battle for second, which has kind of become a battle for really second through sixth here as this pack starts to form up behind Jonathan T. Baker. It's Brandon Jackson, who you see in third, just ahead of Benjamin Lacey, again, former race winner, almost won last week at Auto Club. Then Joshua McQuiggan, who's moved up 2 spots. He's in the top 5, and that's a guy you want to keep an eye on. He was extremely quick there in qualifying. Has never won a race in the series. I don't believe he's had a podium, but that 29 car has been with us for 2 seasons now, and is another guy that every time I see him in one of these races just gets better and better, and takes up more and more of the spotlight. So Joshua McQuiggan, don't rule him out as a potential threat for the win tonight, because he's been quick so far in tonight's race, and he's right on the back bumper of the number 7. Current 2 biggest movers of the race in the top 10. One of them is Cale Zook here, driver of the number 44, kind of tucking himself into the back of that front line there we're seeing already, as well as Ricky Hart Jr. there. And of course, Ricky's going to be the guy to watch tonight, because that number 1 car, the GFR Racing entry for his first season with his new team, Ricky Hart Jr. has had a pretty good season so far, pretty consistent in the points, but has yet to score a win this season. And what better place to do it than at Dover here for the Alba turns for 124. We just passed lap for a couple laps back, and I believe I saw in the Discord, don't know for a fact if this is true, but I believe the driver who is leading at lap number 4 is going to send an autographed happy birthday card there to Alba for her 4th birthday, and I believe that was Nick Nickerson. I believe he got by Brandon Jackson quick enough, so maybe it was just that Brandon didn't feel like getting a stamp, didn't feel like sending a card, or maybe Nick just genuinely got him there at the beginning. But regardless, again, happy birthday to Ricky Hart Jr.'s daughter, Alba, and we only wish Ricky Hart the best of luck in this race. It's always cool to win your sponsored race, especially considering the sponsor tonight. So again, pretty stable race so far here up front. Brandon Jackson just sitting there in third. Jonathan T. Baker just a couple laps ago got the better of him, so the 36 car is now going to continue that forward momentum. He's up 2 spots, and of course the next spot to make that 3 spots up, well, that is the toughest one to get. That is the race lead. So we will see if Jonathan T. Baker can take over the race lead in just a moment here, but for the time being, pretty smooth sailing so far for the 36.
One thing I'm starting to notice here is there's 2 cars starting to come closer and closer to this pack here, and it's that 1 and that 51 car. I think that they're going to start pretty soon being able to show that they've been able to conserve a little bit more tire than everybody else. That's what I've seen in practice earlier this week, as we have the 1 car making a move on the 51. You're going to really start to see them march towards the front right around now. Those tires are going to start getting real hot, and we have a caution.
A caution we have indeed. Just checking our telemetry to see who caused that. It was Sean Bray, and I was just about to point out the number 98 car. He had been dropping back like a rock. He was up to 3rd there at the beginning of the race, drop back a couple spots, and I see significant damage to the front of that number 98 car. So let's go to your Apex Sim Racing replay for the first time in tonight's race. Remember to use code BANDIT for 10% off of your purchase at apexsimracing.com. Go check out their link in the description below. But let's go to your Apex Sim Racing replay to see what happened there to the driver of the number 98 car. So he's already spun. By the time we go to this replay, don't know why it chose to show this particular car on the replay, but we'll go back and get a better camera angle for you. So it looks like coming off of turn number 4, the issues kind of start. He goes to the outside of Presley Gilson there, driver of the number 19. So up top he goes. You see the Apex car kind of slides up, squeezes him a little bit. 98 runs out of room, and he just gets tagged. Bounces off the wall once, bounces into a couple cars that come down on him. And then that final spin is what eventually puts him around. So one more time there. Maybe we'll go from the perspective of the number 98 just so you can see, get perspective for how much room he had coming off the corner. Not a ton, as you'll see here. Just turns into about 3/4 of a car width, maybe half a car width, and not enough, Chris, to get through the corner. Already a tough corner there in turn number 4, and when you got a guy coming up on you, there's very little you can do as the driver of the 98 car.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in, and at a track like Dover where it feels like the wall comes out and grabs you, that's not a situation you want to be in. One thing I did notice while we were under yellow here, we had 2 cars in the top 10. I believe it was Josh McQuiggan and Jonathan Baker come down pit road. Something to point out tonight is that tires are going to be a premium. We were, I believe, 16 laps into that run before the caution came out. You're gonna want to save those tires. I think that some of these guys in the top 10, I think Nick tried to fake some guys onto pit road, but some of these guys in the top 10 were taking care of their stuff. We're gonna find out real shortly who was actually taking care of their tires and who wasn't. This is where I would like to see, pay attention to Curtis Yancey and Ricky Hart, see how they save their tires compared to everybody else.
Well, looking at the aftermath of our first caution of tonight's race, it is Nick Nickerson who leads the field, and now Brandon Jackson going to take back over second place because, as you mentioned, Chris, we did see Jonathan Baker and Joshua McQuiggan both enter pit road, and actually McQuiggan got the better of the runoff of pit road, so we will see him move to the point, I guess you could call it, of that, I guess we could say alternative strategy, or at least the guys that are going to pit in the first couple laps of tonight's race. Only, 18 laps in here out of 124. You'd think, I'd imagine probably on fuel, what would you say, Chris, about a two-stop race tonight pretty consistently?
Yeah, I would say so. 2 stops will get it done, but it's how well you can manage those tires. If we start having a bunch of cautions here, you're going to see a lot more pit stops.
Absolutely. Well, we will see how many more cautions we do get. Of course, one in the first 18 laps. I believe you're right, Chris. We were talking about it pre-race. I believe it was 3 cautions we saw last year in season number 9 here at Dover. So definitely some precedent that we could have a fairly cautionless race, and we are already stacking up, doubling up, and getting ready to go green here this lap. So we are going to get it started here. But very quickly, want to mention before we go back to green, just want to mention that you should all, and anybody in the series, as always, check out the Bandit Racing League website. We'll go to a video for it if we get a chance on a subsequent caution, but want to shout it out there in the description down below. That's where you get all your Bandit Racing League news as far as when races are happening, as far as merch, as far as any new news in the series, and all of our great social media stuff by the man alongside me here in the booth tonight, Mr. Chris Ferrara. So go check it out, banditracingleague.com. Link, as always, in the description. But here we go, back to green, and it is Nick Nickerson taking the race lead once again, but this time he's got some company there up front, much closer than the last restart. It is Brandon Jackson off to a pretty good start there in the 99 car. Down to the inside, he's going to peek here into turn number 3. We're side by side, backs out a little bit. I think Nick got a better run into the corner, but he's a little bit too high. The 99 car gets under him, and he might have the spot back off of turn number 4. He does. Brandon Jackson using that high line there on the very first lap to good use, and Benjamin Lacey, driver the number 7, he might be trying to go with him.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in right off the green flag there. When you let your tires kind of do a heat cycle to get stuck up in that high lane, it's going to take a couple laps to get back going.
And another face we should talk about here, Ricky Hart Jr. Welcome back to the top 5. Ricky Hart in the number 1 car, he is up to 4th, and he's making some good headway. You talk about guys, Chris, that could definitely conserve well tonight, but whether it be tires, fuel, just a guy that knows the car, a guy who has experience. It's a former champion, and it is the guy who maybe more than anybody in the series tonight, wants to win this race here for his daughter at Dover.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know he wants this one. I was talking to him a little bit earlier today, and I said, regarding the social media posts that we put out there, to cap this off, all you got to do is go out and win. So I know that's something that he's going to be trying to do. And we got another yellow.
We do indeed. 2 yellows in very quick succession. So let's go see what has happened here and just check our telemetry. There's always a lot going on here in the series, so it can be tough to find out what exactly did happen and bring out a caution, but I believe it's going to be Brett Grunwald. A number of drivers actually have gone around somewhere a little bit further back, so go to your, as always, Apex Sim Racing Replay. Again, use code BANDIT for 10% off your purchase, but back we go. Okay, so there was subsequent contact there after the wreck. Look at the just pile there. Across the start-finish line, I already see guys like Cody Welch involved there, some bigger names towards the front of that group. I think Brett Grunwald, I saw confirmed, was involved as well. So this is just off of turn number 4. What happened in front of Cody Welch? Just so much went on there. So let's go to a wider camera angle to get a better look at what kicked that all off. So I see Presley Gilson once again off of turn number 4, his second incident he was involved in that very same corner of tonight's race. So Presley Gilson there. Keep an eye on that purple car in the middle of your screen. No, so even further up, just everything seemed to go wrong there on that lap, Chris. We'll go a little bit closer there and get you an angle on that one. So Benny Hogan, driver of the number 5, he is right behind Christopher Hamilton in the 15, who hits the outside wall. He goes around. The 5 hits him. Then it's Ramos into it. Caetano, I think, is in it. Then it's Cody Welch slides in. Connor Gibson slides in. A number of guys getting involved in that one late. So let's go back to, I think, the last guy to slide into that pack. We'll go back to, just want to make sure we got the right guy. Might have been Pete Gilson. I think it was Pete Gilson. So we will go on board here with the driver of the number 40, Pete Gilson. He should have a pretty good angle on this. So you see up front off of turn number 4, guys are already spinning. You see smoke. The O2 of Nolan Gross checks up, and then just nowhere for Gilson to go. He slides in. And then there's the 77 of Charles Oberg getting in there late. The 66 also involved. The 66 car, that is, again, so many names in the series these days, but that is Ismael Padilla getting caught in that one pretty late on in the wreck. So there's an EvanWallMedia.com sponsorship on the back of Brandon Jackson's car, just in front of Mr. Ricky Hart Jr. So again, we want to shout out, as always, thank you to Evan Wall Media and Evan Wall specifically for creating all the awesome graphics in this series. And again, theoretically, we should be going to a new production role for him in the future. It's just we've had some tech issues on that end as far as race streaming. So once we get that figured out, we should go to him. But for now, it is back on my side of things as far as production goes. Joined tonight alongside Chris. So 2 cautions early on in pretty quick succession to only 24 laps in. Do you think this is kind of suggesting, Chris, of a more caution-filled race to come? And what sort of race do you think we're going to see if we already have 2 cautions in only 24 laps?
Well, it's hard to say. Now we're going to have these varying tire strategies. I think Nick Nickerson's going to be the first guy on 4 tires here. I think he's somewhere around 10th. I don't know exactly where he's on track right now, but you're going to have guys like this running through the field now on fresher tires where everybody else has about 20 laps in their tires. And you might be thinking that's really not a lot, but I promise you 10 laps on this track when you're trying to go flat out battling for the league, you're going to burn up your stuff. So I think that's what's going to breed a lot of cautions here with this track where there is a banking on all of the track, corners and straightaways. There's about 9 degrees on the straightaways. When someone wrecks, they're going to wash back up. So it's pretty much, if you with the speeds on this track, you're not going to be able to escape it. You just got to kind of hope that it misses you. So this is almost just as bad as like a Talladega or a Daytona, where if someone starts wrecking, you're pretty much in it. So
yeah, unfortunately so. And yeah, it does seem really weird for a track this small that would be the case. But you're right, just progressive banking everywhere on track. There's really no flat section besides the very tricky pit road. So we will see how guys can do avoiding crashes tonight. And really, survivability might be the most important factor here until the very late stages of tonight's race. Well, again, we want to draw attention to tonight being the Alba Turns 4 124 here at Dover Motor Speedway. And again, happy birthday to Alba Hart, who just celebrated her 4th birthday, daughter of Ricky Hart Jr. this past weekend. And a little bit of information here about Alba. I asked Ricky for some details, and this is what I was given. So, of course, again, her birthday was on Sunday, and she went to the race at Dover for her first ever race. Maybe a new racing fan in the works as a result. But her favorite color is pink, hence why the timing tower in tonight's race is a pink color, as you'll see on the top left when we go back to the live footage. She loves Frozen and Elsa. She loves jumping in puddles and on the trampoline. So very, very active. Maybe that could translate into some successful racing career stuff in the future. She also likes Peppa Pig and lately Gabby Cat. And she loves her family, mom, dad, Wade, and Chevy. So thank you to, again, Ricky Hart for sponsoring tonight's race in honor of his daughter. And again, maybe we'll sing happy birthday later on in the race, and maybe during a caution we'll get Ricky in here and we'll sing it for her. Unfortunately, she cannot make an appearance on the broadcast. I did inquire about it, but she has already gone to bed. So, well, I'm sure Ricky could probably wake her up and get her there for the interview if indeed he does win tonight's race. But before that, we got a long way to go. So getting ready for the green here. It is going to be Brandon Jackson alongside the man himself, Ricky Hart Jr., taking us to green. Brandon opting for the outside line that he was so quick on the last restart with. And we are off. Green flag here for the 3rd time tonight at Dover. It is the 99 jumping out to a comfortable lead over the number 1 car here as we rocket down into turn number 1 with Gary Moore and Alec Daffin, last week's winner, battling side by side there for 3rd.
I think Alba here is going to get a birthday present real soon because I think her dad's about to go take the lead.
I think you're right. Side by side, we go into turn number 3, and the number 1 car getting underneath. Side by side, almost banging doors there. Ricky Hart, you see, getting very close, but no. Brandon Jackson expertly holding him off there. Uses the high line to his advantage, keeps the momentum up a little bit higher, and he gets the move done. Back a little bit further, Joshua McQuiggan, one of those guys moving through the field, starting to come back. I thought he was going to go all the way around the outside of this battle for 3rd place there, but ended up backing out a little bit. But again, he's going to try it again. We're almost 3 wide here at Dover. That's something you never see. Up front still, Ricky Hart trying to chase down the number 99 car of Brandon Jackson again. Oh, somebody in the background. I was just about to say, incredible how nobody hits the wall here. But again, I should not jinx people. Sean Britt, once again, the 98 car, the guy up there into the outside wall. He is now down in 19th. Back up a little bit further, though. That battle up front still continuing. But Presley Gilson looking to the inside on Alec Daff in the number 48 car. Here comes the 19. He gets the move done, and I think Mr. Joshua McQuiggan, driver of the number 29, is going with him. And as far as I'm aware, he is the first driver on new tires in this field up there in 4th. So pretty favorable. Of course, he's a tire set down, but Joshua McQuiggan off to a very hot start in tonight's race, and that's what you like to see if you're a fan of the number 29. There you see on the gyro cam on board the number 29 car, the view he's getting to the back of Presley Gilson, and Presley Gilson's getting darn close to the back of Ricky Hart Jr. in his own right. very good start here for the number 19 on this, I guess, third stint of tonight's race here at Dover. So he's right on the back bumper, and he almost made contact with Ricky Hart there a little bit as we come off of turn number 2. You see just how close those guys get to the outside wall. Here comes Gilson, gonna try it there into turn number 3. Turn 3 appearing to be the passing corner tonight, and it happens again. Down the inside he goes. McQuiggan's going with him. I think towards the end of the corner there, Chris. I think Ricky just gave up the spots. I think he didn't want to risk contact there off of turn number 4, where we're probably going to see a lot of contact tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricky's one of those really smart veteran drivers. He knows that these guys are on tires and they're going to be moving. So he said, "I'll have that battle later." He's going to let him go by now.
There we go. Presley Gilson again, going to look to the high side where that momentum seems to be favorable. If he can get about even with them off the entry of the corner, he can get them done. And there he goes, Presley Gilson, maybe even with a little bit of help from Joshua McQuiggan, putting the fight to the 99 of Brandon Jackson. He should get him here with the run off of turn number 2. He will. He's now clear of the 99, and now McQuiggan trying to go with him. So I think these new tire guys, Presley Gilson should actually be on a fresh set of rubber as well. So these new tire guys showing a really good pace tonight. And that is translating quite well here as the 19 and the 29 car take over the top 2 spots. Presley Gilson going to lead this lap, his first of the race here at Dover.
Yeah, you're starting to see all these guys that were on tires start to come to the front now. You got Nick Nickerson coming up here, Jonathan Baker. They're all going to start coming to the front. These guys on the tires will fade to the back, but that will play to their advantage later on in the race, I believe.
Another pass for the lead, the 29 of McQuiggan now up to the point of tonight's race here. As we go to the 35th lap here, this time by, we are already past the 1 quarter mark of tonight's race. We are going quite quick here at Dover. It has been a quick race at the Monster Mile. And a new contender back up front because he has new tires. Nick Nickerson, welcome back to the fight for the lead. It has not been too long since we saw him up here up front. And you got to think with the pace we saw there right off the jump, Chris, right at the beginning of this race, uneven tires to these 2 guys up front, Nick has to be probably the favorite in terms of pace. But we've seen McQuiggan be pretty quick. He was fast in practice, and he is starting to gap the 19 of Gilson a little bit since that pass.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. He has a little bit of a head start on Nick. Oh, we got another yellow.
Another yellow indeed. Caution number 3 tonight. And well, unfortunately, Evan Wall is not here tonight, but if he were, he would probably mention the old adage we always say here on the Full Send Racing Network. Cautions breed cautions. Let's go to your Apex Sim Racing replay here and see what happened to Robert Mathis, driver of the number 3, a guy who's been pretty good so far this season as far as points go. I believe he had a podium in our season opening race at Daytona, but he tags the back end of, I think that was Brett Guzik, if I'm not mistaken, and then he gets tagged by the car in behind as he checks up, and it just causes a whole load of chaos. So let's go back here. Yes, indeed. So it is the 04 there of Brett Guzik, who he runs into the back of. Robert Mathis then gets tagged from behind by Benny Hogan there. Sorry, Hunter Henry. 2 very similar looking paint schemes there. Hunter Henry, driver of the number 9. Of course, the fan favorite, as I always call him. He is sitting there right in behind, so you'll see contact off the outside wall in turn number 4 and just gets tagged. Nothing he can do. Slides into the outside wall, and I believe going to be a little bit of damage there as well for Hunter Henry, driver of the number 9 here. But becoming a recurring theme here so far in tonight's race, Chris, and that outside wall there, turn number 4, in your personal experience, would you say it's fair that is the toughest corner on the Monster Mile?
Yeah, I would say the exit, both of turn 2 and turn 4, they just really come out and grab you. I think that's where the Monster Mile gets its name from. Is the wall just seems to kind of pop out of nowhere. It's really hard to judge, and when you're really trying to get all you can out of the car and you're driving it right on the edge, all of a sudden you're right in the wall. So it's one of those hard things to judge, and if you're trying to push and you're trying to gain positions, that's just a risk you got to take sometimes.
Well, I was mentioning before the Bandit Racing League website a couple laps ago, as we see Michael Ramos get the free pass there, get the lucky dog, so the 27 car will go back onto the lead lap. But very quickly, the Bandit Racing League website, just want to talk a little bit about it because it is consistently updated. A ton of work is put into it here for this series and gives you guys an outlet to check anything related to the Bandit Racing League. This video was filmed quite a while ago, so of course the countdown will not be for Vegas. At the conclusion of tonight's race, it'll be for Nashville Super Speedway, where we go a week from today, next Wednesday. But there you go. See some details about race sponsorship. You can get some links to previous broadcasts. You can see the full list of all drivers in the series at any given week, and including a nice little photo, maybe a hometown, some information. So if you want to learn more about the drivers in this series, that is where you want to go. And of course, anything related to news, we have links to our social medias there. And as you see up top, also the schedule, some of our sponsors, and a link to our merch. Speaking of the merch, we also have that link available here And, well, we got some new stuff in the works. Unfortunately, there were some copyright issues, so maybe some stuff related to season 10. Maybe not quite there yet, but it will be very soon. And there is always stuff to go check out there on the Bandit Racing League merch site. And that is, of course, Geezer Authentics, our source for all of our merch here. So both those links, both the website and the merch, will be in the description. But you can get everything there on the Geezer Authentics merch site as it pertains to the Bandit Racing League. Of course, glasses, very similar to the one I have representing Rogue Energy alongside me, as always, here in the broadcast booth. But also some shirts for your favorite drivers. Maybe you're a Kevin Foster fan, a Nick Nickerson fan, really anybody for GFR Racing. Maybe you're one of the many Cody Welch fans who support this series. Well, there is merch for you for those favorite drivers. So go check it out. Of course, as always, there is no shortage. There's always color variety. There's size variety. Sizes are going to show up there in Canadian, but if you want an estimate, American is going to be about 20% cheaper all the time. So stuff is even cheaper than it shows up as far as dollar value. So very fair pricing. Can ship to pretty much anywhere in the States. You can get it to yourself, as well as if you're up here in Canada. I have ordered stuff in the past and have had success getting it over here. So plenty of options there, and of course there is usually Full Send Racing Network stuff. We're having some copyright issues as far as getting that stuff on the logos, but it is always there available for you. So go check it out there at geezerauthentics.com, the link of which is in the description and on the website, which is also linked. Everything is linked in this series, and no shortage of outlets to check out anything related to the Bandit Racing League series. With that, we are one lap away here from the green flag restart. Our fourth of the race, I believe it should be here at Dover. And what a race it has been so far, Chris. It's been a ton of fun. We're now a third of the way through tonight's event. And, I mean, it's too early to call. We always try to make race predictions. I actually didn't make one before tonight's race, and it's a little bit late to do so. But, Chris, based on what you've seen so far, you've seen a third of the race. You've seen who's pretty quick. You've seen what the strategies are looking like. If you were a betting man, who's your pick for this point in tonight's race at Dover?
I'm not going to go with Nick Nickerson. I have a thing against picking Nick.
Right.
But I'm going to go with his teammate. I'm going to go with Ricky Hart. It's a sentimental one. I think he really wants to get this one done. I know he loves this track. It's kind of his home track. And he's been really fast all week in practice, and wherever he's really shown up, he's gonna march to the front here. It's gonna be interesting. I know you're gonna put in your race prediction here, but it's gonna be interesting now that we have two sets of strategies going on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge with guys on different tires and different paces. I'll give mine in just a moment, but we are about to go green here. So it's the 2, the 29, the 19, the 36, your top 4. Tony Hilbrand's now sneaking out into the back end of the top 5, so keep an eye on him. But here we go, green flag here at Dover. Joshua McQuiggan going to take us to green here for the 4th time tonight, his first off of a restart. And Nick already got a little bit of competition there for second. Jonathan Baker going up to the top side as we shoot off of turn number 2. Down to the inside goes Nick Nickerson again, trying to hold on to that inside lane. Always a little bit easier to run down there, but that outside line gets better runs off the corner if they can hang tight. And looks like Jonathan Baker has. Beautiful piece of driving there from him. But watch out for Presley Gilson, that number 19 Apex Sim racing car. He is getting close, and Tony Hilbrand's driving the number 92, trying to go with him. Maybe going to give some help to the 19, see if he can sneak by Baker on the inside.
It's really good to see that 92 up front. I know he has a string of bad luck, so I really like seeing Tony run up front here. He's really good, and he has a lot of knowledge, so love seeing him run up front.
Of course, Tony Hilbrand's a series veteran for a long time. He's to the inside of Presley Gilson. He'll get the 4 spot there as he gets that pass done. Benjamin Lacey probably going to go with him. Same with Curtis Yancey there just in behind. So there we go. Benjamin Lacey underneath Presley Gilson as well. Here comes Yancey going to try it in the 51 car. But yeah, Tony Hilbrand's last season, a former Final Four driver there in the championship. We know Tony's got pace, but that just, hasn't been a great start to the season for him points-wise, as has been the case for guys like Brandon Jackson and some guys who have just had bad luck and struggled so far. So Tony Hilbrand's could really use a great performance tonight. Don't be surprised if he's a guy that has good pace. But back to what I was talking about, as far as a prediction, I'm actually going to go with Joshua McQuiggan driving the number 29 car. I like the strategy call. I like pitting early. I think he and Nick are almost even as far as tire strategy goes, and he so far has been able to hold them off, including being quicker there on that last restart. I know he had the preferred, outside the line, but he's held them off pretty well so far. Even if Nick gets by here, I'm going to take McQuiggan in the long run. Give me the 29 car to win tonight's race at Dover. Get his first career win, just like we saw Alec Daffin get last week.
I do like that prediction. Compared from last season, McQuiggan made a lot of strides in the right direction. He's gotten really fast. I really like what he's doing. He's just being consistent, and I like how he's not getting nervous here. It's really easy to, hear the jaw steam music right now when you got a guy like Nick breathing down your neck. So
I like what he's doing. He's kind of sending it in, making sure Nick can't win the battle into the braking zone or the lifting zone. And then he just backs Nick up. He just slows the car right down, runs Nick out of room, because you can't just jump up to the top line mid-corner and make the pass. And you got to maintain the momentum. So beautiful defensive driving here from McQuiggan. And I think the thing Nick has often had in the past, we see Tony Hilbrands make a little bit of contact there with the outside wall. So maybe some struggles there for Tony to keep that car off the wall while maintaining the speed he has right now. But Nick always in the past, Chris, he seems to have, for whatever reason, maybe just based on strategies and stuff, he ends up mid-pack, maybe middle of the top 5, pretty much every race so far this season. I think if McQuiggan can at any point late in the race get in front of him and he can keep this defense up, that's going to be great for him. And maybe a track here at Dover that, as we've heard from real-life NASCAR drivers in the past and even this weekend, can be tough to pass at.
Yeah, absolutely. The longer he can keep Nick back there, the better it is for him. If Nick were to get out in front, getting that clean air, he's going to set sail. So I really like how he's keeping him behind. He's doing everything he can and just really holding him up. I think that's going to be huge, as you see in other series like Formula One, where if you can hang that guy back a little bit, even if for 5 laps, it's going to make a huge difference.
And he continues to do so, getting towards about the halfway point of tonight's race. Now 48 laps in, of course, 124 laps. Halfway point's going to be 62. We are getting through it, and about a 24-second lap here at Dover, not very long at all. I'm just looking here at the last pit lap for most of these drivers here up front. Joshua McQuiggan last pitted. We have a caution, or we have a crash at least somewhere further back in the field. Who is that involved? It is a caution indeed. Connor Zook, driver of the number 55, has gone around. Same with Jason Rome, driver of the number 81. So caution comes out, 4th of the day. The pace car shoots right through the 44 of Connor Zook. Going to go to your Apex Sim Racing replay. Remember to use code BANDIT at the link below in the description. But here we go. Connor Zook just gets tagged. The 81 of Jason Rome getting a little bit too fast, a little bit overzealous there, and running right into the back of the number 55 car. I don't know. Again, I don't mean to place blame anywhere as far as that incident goes quite yet. You know, the 81 could have been a little bit fast. The 55 could have been a little bit off the pace. We don't know yet, but that is why we go to these camera angles here. So I already see a little bit of net code. Didn't look like a perfectly timed contact as far as the sim goes. Looked a little bit off there. So no, but it was close. I think Rome was just trying to carry the speed, and maybe the 55 trying to slot down, maybe not. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Chris, but so what's your take on that incident?
You know, Dover's one of those tracks where you can have all the room in the world and come to corner exit, you can be inside that car. It's one of those tracks where you run out of room real quick. So with the speeds of this track and the way you exit the corner, it's really tough. So it's hard to put blame because it's so hard to judge when you're entering the corner where you're going to end up.
Here's the battle off pit road as we see most of your race leaders, or at least those guys in that main strategy, coming out of pit road. Nick Nickerson well in front of Joshua McQuiggan there. So got to think maybe Josh took more tires than Nick did or something along those lines. But Jonathan Baker exiting pit road as well. Tony Hilbrands, Curtis Yancey, Benjamin Lacey, then Cale Zook, your battle off of pit road here, as well as Presley Gilson, and winner of that first consolation race. He finished second place behind Eddie Hagge. Mr. Brett Grunwald, who, of course, did make the field off of that early consolation race we covered at the beginning of the day. And now going to be a new race leader when we go to your next restart. It is the kind of third member of that GFR Racing stable. We've talked a lot about Nick. We've talked a lot about Ricky. We haven't talked so much about Kevin Foster tonight, driving that Atso's Dream number 8 car. Of course, the sponsor of the final race of the season in the last 2 years, the Bandit Racing League. Always a happy sponsor. And, of course, Kevin Foster, one of the series' biggest supporters, along with Perfect Shine Auto Spa, your sponsors, of course, of the starting lineup and anything that pertains to a variety of things in this series. So Kevin Foster, of course, a very important figure in the series, but he's also an important figure on the racetrack, a former champion, the only 2-time champion here in the Bandit Racing League. And again, another guy that has had kind of a quiet season so far. He's racked up a fair number of points. Nothing to complain about as far as that goes, but yeah, just been a really weird season for him so far. Would really like a good performance here tonight at Dover. And he hasn't pitted since lap 23, now 28 laps into this cycle. You got to think, Chris, he's going to be off the pace here on this next restart, especially compared to Brandon Jackson, who pitted a lot more recently, only 10 laps ago, approximately, on lap number 37.
Yeah, it's GFR Racing. If they all get going, that's one 3-headed monster that I don't want to come in contact with on the racetrack. Those guys are all so good. They're all veterans. They have all been doing this for a while, and they have so much knowledge. So I don't see why Kevin couldn't get up there and contend for this win. I think that his 2 other teammates seem to have a little bit more pace than him tonight. But, I mean, other than that, shout out to Kevin. He's one of the league's biggest supporters. Auto Shine Perfect. Oh, man, I'm messing up the sponsor. But nonetheless, he's one of the biggest supporters of the Bandit Racing League, so shout out to him. I also do want to make note, Nick actually did 2 pit stops, and I watched his pit stop. He took right side tires, so on the second one. So that's interesting. He's going to be mired really far back in this pack. He's going to have to race through it. We've already seen what's happening a little bit further back in the pack all night long, so this is going to be interesting to see what happens. That could really shake things up at the end of this race. And also, if you don't notice, Ricky Hart is now back to the front. He restarted that last caution in P21. And now he's sitting there in second. So that just shows you how different these strategies are playing out for these drivers.
Yeah, this season, really the word of the year has been strategy. Yeah, very good point about Nick Nickerson there, pitting a second time for fresh rubber. Pitted in some way to service both times, so it wasn't like it was a penalty he had to serve. Really weird. I don't know what that would have been. Hopefully wasn't intentional, I wouldn't think, because he's all the way back in 35th now. So that's what I was talking about before with McQuiggan in reference to Nickerson. Just something always seems to happen to Nick that puts him there pretty far back about mid-race. So hopefully that's the last time tonight we see that happen to him. But here we go. We're getting ready to go. Kevin Foster, Brandon Jackson, a battle we've seen many times before in previous seasons, but probably going to be the first time we've seen it in Season 10. So up front, the 8, the 99, then it's Ricky Hart Jr., Gary Moore Jr., Mark Allen Bivens, your top 5, and it's Alec Daffin on the outside of row number 3. Here we go. Pace car on pit road, getting ready to take the green flag here. And we are off. The Alba turns 4, 124 at Dover International Speedway for the 5th round of the Bandit Racing League Season 10. We got a good battle for the lead here already forming up. Kevin Foster on old tires versus Brandon Jackson on new. Let's see how long the number 8 car can hold off Brandon Jackson.
Yeah, I think Kevin knows that he's kind of a sitting duck here, but it's just really about managing how far back he falls. He's a veteran driver, and he's gonna manage that pretty well here, I think.
I'd say you're right, and Brandon's already got by him. The number 99 car gets by underneath turns 3 and 4, so he's back up to the point. And here comes Ricky Hart Jr. He's underneath the 1 car. And the 1 car is going to shoot off back towards Brandon Jackson. Again, you got to think he isn't too worried about getting up to second. You know he wants the race win tonight. We're just about to pass the halfway point in a little bit, so pretty favorable pace here so far, and another yellow. Yeah, man. Cautions breed cautions. We said before the race here, Chris, that it was going to be if we got a caution early, we were going to see plenty, and we have. My goodness here. A number of guys involved in a big name. Joshua McQuiggan, my pick for the race win. Maybe the commentator's jinx coming back as usual. Let's go back here to your Apex Sim Racing replay. Again, use code BANDIT at the link below, and that is a wreck for Joshua McQuiggan. Significant damage to the number 29 car there. Big hit for both he and Tony Hilbrands there. So let's go back to the perspective of Joshua McQuiggan here. Go from back from his perspective. Just in front of him, as Jonathan Baker got into somebody, the 25 car was also involved. So a number of guys there going around, and that kind of set off the incident that the 29 car would kind of helplessly run into. Not much he was going to do there. That was a really wide camera angle. Going to go back a little bit earlier here. So let's see what happens to Jonathan Baker, who was kind of the first guy to go around there in that pack. So the 36, kind of getting slowed up behind the 11 car there. That's Bill Harkins in the 96. I believe that is John Graham. So a couple guys in front, a little bit slow, and then I think maybe Baker just runs into it, gets a little bit overzealous, and that kind of sets off the chain reaction that led to a couple guys like Joshua McQuiggan and Tony Hilbrands getting involved in the aftermath. Did Benjamin Lacey avoid that? Because I didn't see him on the list of drivers affected. I think he did. Wait, let's go back to the perspective of the number 7 car here and maybe get a better view of the entire incident at large. But if he did, incredible piece of work there from Benjamin Lacey. Onto the onboard here, off of turn number 4. There's Baker hitting the 25. There's a number of guys going around. Walks it up and saves it. Gets by. Beautiful piece of driving by Benjamin Lacey. Calm hands could go a long way here. Let's go and just see as close as it gets to the rear quarter panel here. I think it got darn close. And you go to the replay here. CC Presley Gilson gives him a bit of a tap. Gets through. The 29 almost catches him. The 26 almost catches him. But he stays clean. Benjamin Lacey, it's been a great season for him so far. And perhaps decent luck and a mix of very quality driving is the reason for it. But yeah, Chris, in those situations like Benjamin was in, just keeping your hands, I think, how would you describe it? You think it's a mix of calm and very erratic? Like when you're a driver like that, you make contact with somebody, you're trying to avoid a wreck. What's the mindset as a driver with how you approach the wheel?
Yeah, situations like that, especially on a track like this, it's so tough. I mean, you can turn one wrong way, a guy's got to bounce off another guy, especially in iRacing, unfortunately, with the netcode issue. Anything can happen, and it's a really tough situation. And in a wreck like that, that's just a bunch of guys stacking up. I think It looked like maybe someone got into the rear end of somebody else and put him in the wall, but you can't see. Coming off the corner there, you're not going to be able to see in front of you. So that's just going to make a huge pile up. And you see a couple guys that have been running up front with Tony Hilbrins and, Josh McQuiggan getting caught up in that wreck. That's unfortunate to see, but I think they both have their fast repair and they'll be back.
Yep, very true. As always in the series, we do have fast repairs available for drivers to return to the racetrack if need be and avoid being out of the race just because of one wacky incident. Even though he was able to avoid the wreck, unfortunately, Benjamin Lacey has come back down pit road and will lose spots as a result. So Benjamin Lacey is going to shoot back to the 36th spot now as a result of coming down pit road. But he may have had a little bit of damage from the rear contact from Presley Gilson. I would imagine that is the case. So back up front, still not double file, getting ready to go here. So should be one more lap, and then we'll get ready to go green here for you at Dover for the Alba Turns 4, 124 here at the Monster Mile. Very quickly, we just want to plug a few more things as usual. Here at Full Send Racing Network tonight, we are, of course, joined by Chris Farrar here in the broadcast booth. But, well, Chris is a driver, and Chris is going to have some other obligations throughout the series. We can't always guarantee somebody will be available the whole year. So we're going to put it out to you guys. If you would like to be a commentator, if you'd like to join the team for a race, a number of races, you're curious to get into broadcasting, and you're just interested for the opportunity to try out what we do in the booth every week and what those alongside me here do in the broadcast booth, well, that is your chance to do it. So go check out the email below there. So Crocker Jr., JR@Rogers.com. That is the email you want to go to there. And just email me about inquiries. Put your name there, put some information. We will get back to you there if we are in the looks for a new commentator, somebody alongside us in the booth. We always like to pass the opportunity around. I know I got my start here in broadcasting because of that very sort of thing. I just got a chance with a channel that was looking for a color commentator, and all these years later, I found my passion for not only just commentary, but production in general and making the other elements of a racing broadcast. And now here I am. So if you want to try to do this very same thing and hopefully take the path I will for the rest of my career into broadcasting, well, that is how you get started. So go check it out. Email that email there, and we will maybe see you in the broadcast booth here throughout the rest of the season. But here we go. Green flag number 5. It is Brandon Jackson back to the point alongside Ricky Hart Jr. and Kevin Foster, 2 GFR racing cars in the top 3.
A couple guys I want to shout out that have actually made it into the top 10. We have Brett Guzik up here, Eddie Hagge, Jason Greenwell, all in the top 10. They started rather far back in the pack tonight, so kudos to them making that charge up to the front.
Yeah, very true. Of course, starting 19th was Jason Greenwell at the start of tonight's race. The 83 car now up there in 8th. Talked about Brett Guzik. He was down there in 9th at the start. He has moved up into a top 5 spot and very competitive tonight. He's also looking for his first race win of the season in his first season since his championship winning campaign in season number 9. Then after that, Eddie Hagge up 32 spots. That 97 car, he won the Consolation race, and now suddenly he is threatening to get back in the top 5, maybe even go for the win tonight, up 32 spots from qualifying 38th there in that Consolation race spot. But up front, it's this battle for the lead I'm going to be curious to watch. And I think we are one pit stop from the race away from ending the race, maybe a green flag one. So Ricky can put the pressure on there and hope to go green to the end. Down to the inside he goes. Ricky Hart Jr. going to go side by side, almost contact, but the 2 veteran drivers keep it off each other. And around we go off of turn number 4. What a battle it's going to be here to the line. I can't wait for the finish here at Dover, but right now we got great racing to finish up here. And man, what a race it's been as Ricky Hart Jr. back to the point here at Dover.
Yeah, I think Ricky knows it's time to get that clean air. It's time to go. I know we still have a ways to go, but if this thing goes green, this is the time where you want to kind of stretch your legs and get out front. I know he's going to be fast here, and I expect him to kind of stretch this lead.
And of course, again, as we've mentioned a couple times now, it is the Alba Turns 4 124 in honor of his daughter, Alba, who turned 4 this past weekend and celebrated her first race here at this very same racetrack. Ricky took her to the race. He watched the real-life NASCAR race. Maybe he's picking up pointers because he is holding off one of the series best and a guy that likes this track. When Brandon Jackson likes a track in this series, man, he can be quick. And, well, we're going to see 2 very imposing forces here going at it here for the rest of this race. But I don't even want to leave. There's battles all around the track, but the battle for the lead is as spicy as ever. It feels bad to go away from it, but here we go off of turn number 2, still in favor of Ricky Hart. Brandon peeking to the inside, though, down to turn number 3, might try to send it under the 99 car. Back he goes. What a battle. And Brandon Jackson takes back over the race lead.
Watch out for this run here. Ricky's going to have a hell of a run coming in this corner.
Yes, he is. Great call there, Chris. And down down Ricky goes here through turns number 1 and 2. Almost to the quarter panel, getting very close. Ricky peeking under, almost gets it done. Going to back off, going to slot back in and behind And Ricky is going to stay content here with the second spot. And I think Chris, as fast as Ricky is, as much as we know, he wants to just go, go, go. He wants to lead the rest of this race if he possibly can. You also got to consider he really wants this win. And if you get yourself wrecked here battling Brandon Jackson for the lead just at the halfway point of tonight's event, you're not going for the win. So you got to be conservative and putting the pressure on at the same time.
Well, I mean, I think these two guys know they're both veterans of the league. They're both veterans to iRacing. These guys both know they see that they're gapping third place here. They can kind of cruise together. They don't want to push too hard. They don't want to burn up their stuff, so that way those guys can fall back to them. The more they race side by side, the closer that gap gets back to the rest of that pack. So if they're smart, they're going to kind of race it out here. Eventually, either Brandon's going to run away with it or Ricky's going to be able to make that pass later on in this run.
Looking back to the next guy behind, it's Kevin Foster, 1.2 seconds back, currently sitting in third. So it really is a two-horse race there up front in terms of pace on that current strategy of who is leading there. So you got to think that's going to be the battle, at least for the time being, for the win. And I think if we don't get a caution to the end, which I would not put money on, but if we didn't, I think it's got to be one of those two guys. It's got to be the favorite for the win, but we will see. Looking back a little bit further for guys that were very good early on that have maybe dropped back a little bit. Well, Nick Nickerson, of course, had his late pit stop there, that double stop that really put him back there in the field. I'm trying to find him here at the moment. He must be kind of mid-pack somewhere, if anywhere, but yeah, not a great night so far for Nick. Yeah, he's in 13th, so not crazy far back, kind of at the end of this lead pack, but is that damage I see on the front of the number 2 car? It is not. It's just the paint scheme. So Nick is in the equation. He's at the back of that front line, but man, he's got a long race ahead of him. The battle up front, Ricky Hart Jr., he's getting back to the point, sends it underneath into turn number 3 from quite a ways back, and he is now back up front. But here comes Brandon again, trying to fight him back.
Yeah, this track is tough when it comes to runs. If you can position yourself right, I think we saw it the Xfinity race, the real life race anyways, this past weekend, where you can kind of keep swapping back and forth just based on how you approach your corner. And it makes it really hard to get the lead and keep it.
Yeah, very true. And just as we saw Ricky get the move done, he figured it out. Well, Brandon took it right back. So it's not just going to be about getting the pass for the win done. It's going to be about getting the lead and holding it. And we saw Joshua McQuiggan earlier on, my pick for the race win tonight, who unfortunately, due to his double stop, is all the way back there in 24th as we speak here, as we go back to the number 29 car. But he was really good defensively earlier, proved that if he could get out front, he knew where to position the car, he knew what the run was going to be on any given corner, he knew where it was going to go, and he could defend accordingly. So I think that's going to be a valuable skill. I think defensively, it's going to be interesting to watch Brandon Jackson, because Chris, a lot of those races he's won in the last 2 or 3 years in this series, he's done dominantly as we see Robert Mathis enter the pits. So maybe a guy as far as top guys in the series goes, at least in the Bandit Racing League, maybe has not a ton of defensive experience.
Yeah, Brandon's one of those guys that he tends to just kind of stretch out his lead. I think that regardless, his experience and his ability to kind of approach the track, and we have another caution. But Brandon is just so good. I think if you just give him the position, he'll take it.
Caution indeed. Going back to Presley Gilson once again and Tony Hilbrands once again. Two guys that just have not had it go their way tonight. Tony Hilbrands again. One of those races that he probably hopes is ending pretty soon here. The number 92 car battle in the 29. So McQuiggan there right in the background. I think he got by it, just barely split the gap there. But the 92 car getting tagged and avoids a couple guys, but starts a little bit too soon. And Presley Gilson, who's trying to go underneath, gets tagged, and Ismael Padilla piles in there in the aftermath as well. So let's go back to the perspective of Joshua McQuiggan, who I think got a pretty good look at that. So that is just a little bit too early. There we go, on board here with the driver of the number 29. There's the 92 of Tony Hilbrands right in front of him. Yeah, John Graham, I think, was the one that caught him there, driver of the number 96. So Graham making contact off of turn number 4 there with the number 92 of Tony Hilbrands. That kicked off the incident that then caught Presley Gilson and Mr. Ismael Padilla. So caution number 6 tonight. They are piling up here, Chris, and we're seeing some more pit stop action here as Brandon Jackson leading Ricky Hart down pit road. This could be big. This could settle a spot without even needing a pass. And with seeing how hard it was to pass here on track, this might be the most favorable pass any driver makes tonight is in the pits.
Absolutely. A race here at Dover, especially under green, the race can be won or lost on pit road. This pit road is so tricky, and whoever comes out in front on this pit stop, that could definitely solidify a win. I don't know if at this point in the race, we're a little just about halfway. But you know, certainly it can definitely solidify the winner. Another guy that came down pit road, I believe, was Nick Nickerson. This kind of offsets that strategy. Now everybody's on the same strategy for the most part, all those contenders up front, and that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, just been a weird night strategically for Nick so far. He's always quick. We know as far as pure pace goes, you don't really get quicker than the number 2 car in the average week, but yeah, just tonight it's been a weird situation for him after starting up front there on the outside of the front row, led the first couple laps, and since then has just fallen kind of mid-pack based on his strategic calls. So again, he's still in a good spot. 14th isn't too far back with 50 to go, but certainly a little bit further back than he'd like to be. So we'll see what Nick can do the rest of the race going forward. But as far as guys that didn't pit there, who are going to be your new leaders, at least provisionally on this next restart, number 1 guy to look at is Curtis Yancey, driver the number 51. He leads Mason Flagar, then Connor Gibson, then Mark Allen Bivens, Garrett Hall. And that is your top 5. I'm going to do a quick through the field segment here presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa, but we're going to kind of do a mix of the field as far as guys go. We're not just going to go 1 to 10 because I think everybody's on a different kind of a different spot there in their strategy, so we'll kind of mix it up a little bit. Here you go. You're through the field, as always, again, presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. It's your first driver here in the order, and Curtis Yancey's had an interesting race so far, I would say, to say the least. He's kind of been all the way through the field. He's been up, he's been down. He was quick in practice. We know he's fast, but, well, what can he do here on this alternative strategy? He has not pitted since... Let me just double check here to make sure I give you an accurate number. He's not pitted since lap 50. So these front 5 guys have all pitted on lap 50 or 56. So they've now gone about 25 laps on a set of tires. They're going to need to pit once more for fuel. Tires are going to be a question. They're going to be on older rubber if this thing goes green to the end. So Curtis Yancey, I like where he is, but definitely got to ask, is that strategy going to hold up as far as battling for the win goes? Let me jump back to the next guy on that lead potential strategy, the first guy with new tires after that last pit stop. It is Brandon Jackson. He's been quick all night. He said before the race he likes this track. Keep an eye on the 99 to get his first win of the season tonight. Then, of course, Ricky Hart Jr. What more can you say? He wants to win this race tonight. He was just there this past weekend for his daughter's birthday. Tonight's his daughter's birthday. His Alba turns 4 at 124 at Dover. You know he wants this one bad. And looking for his first win of the season, too. He's been great so far, but the winner's points would definitely shoot him off the regular season standings. Got to think he wants this one, too. Kevin Foster, GFR Racing driver, trying to prove himself against his fellow GFR Racing teammate, who's been quite quick since he got to the stable. Both guys have, but Kevin, it's been a bit since we've seen a win for the number 8 car, so it could be good tonight to add one to the belt and another one of the GFR Racing stable, their second of the season. Alec Daffin, a winner of the last race of the Bandit Racing League there at Auto Club. Can he do it again tonight? Can the closer from that race close it again tonight? The 48 car will try. He's in 9th place right now. And rounding off your top 10, it is the defending series champion, Mr. Brett Guzik. That number 04 in red tonight. I'm liking that paint scheme for him. And he's put it to good effect so far. Brett Guzik on the outside of row number 5. That is not far back enough that I wouldn't be confident he can get back in the equation to go for the win. 7th green flag of the night, about to go green. Yancey on the high side in the 51. Flagar on the low side in the 72. Let's get it fired up here. Here we go. Green flag once again at Dover Motor Speedway for the Alba Turns 4 124 here at the Monster Mile.
Watch for these guys on newer tires come up here in a hurry.
Already a pretty good start here tonight on this last restart for a couple of these guys. A couple guys making up a couple spots early. Brandon Jackson, one of them. Brett Guzik, another. He's down the inside of not only Ricky Hart Jr., but Kevin Foster as well. The 04 car making some good progress. And he's going to look to the inside of Brandon Jackson as well. Everybody getting stacked up here kind of mid-corner in turns number 1 and 2. It is just a bloodbath here. Everybody trying to make it through clean. No caution as of yet. Look at the field as we come. Michael Ramos gets tagged. Right as I say, everybody makes it through clean. A massive pileup. We can call that the Dover big one if a couple more guys get involved here. Cody Welch again involved in that one. You see the 85 car getting caught in that incident off of turn number 2. So not a great night for Cody so far. He was already lapped down, and that's not going to help. Caution number 7. Your Apex Sim Racing replay, as always, is the way we find out what happened. Bill Harkins, Connor Zook, Michael Ramos involved. So back to your Apex Sim Racing replay. There's the 11 car of Bill Harkins. I think he kind of gets in this late. So Michael Ramos is where I want to start. He was the guy that I saw go around there in the background of the live shot. So let's see what happened to him. There he is. So off of turn number 2. I think Lacey dips below the line. I think he just gets on the apron a little bit there, gets loose, checks up the field behind. He tags Ramos, who tags Harkins, who tags Grunwald. Nolan Gross gets in it. I think that was the 54, making a little bit of contact there in that in the aftermath of that wreck. So number of guys get involved there late. The 56 gets by clean. And I think Presley Gilson, who's been involved in a couple wrecks tonight, does get by scot-free out of this one. So going to go back one more shot and see what happened there. Maybe to Benjamin Lacey. We'll go on board with the driver of the number 7, who was great early on, has since kind of fallen back. And I think they're just a little bit of a driver mistake that led to that more overarching incident. Yeah, so here is the onboard here from Benjamin Lacey's perspective. So something happens up front even earlier. Who gets loose there? That was Garrett Hall that got loose to kind of kick that whole thing off, but he was fine. He saved it. Actually, a great save. Let's go back to the 26 car here. But that was what got Lacey kind of a little bit off the pace and kicked that whole thing off. Yeah, Garrett saves it impressively. So does he get tagged in the incident that ensues? He does. It was Ramos that kind of came up into him, so definitely damage to the 26 car, but a great save, even if it did lead to the ensuing incident.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Again, that's just Dover. There's really nowhere to go, and as soon as guys start checking up, you can't really see that as you're further back in the pack, and all of a sudden you have guys stacking up on top of each other. So that's one of those tough incidences. One guy I do want to shout out, and kind of a group of guys. We have the young guns up here. We have Bivens in second, Flagar in third, and Keegan Clark. He's been up in the top 10 all night. I know we have a couple comments in the live stream here asking to see Keegan on the broadcast. Yeah, he's been running solid all night. I know that he's putting a lot of practice. I saw on his social media that he actually got his first win at Dover in the official side. So shout out to them. Shout out to all three of those guys.
Yeah, shout out indeed to Keegan Clark. And we do need to give him mention. Currently the highest mover, besides Mark Allen Bivens, again, another fellow young driver there, in the top 5. He started all the way back in, that is, if I'm reading that correctly, 34th. So Keegan Clark has definitely moved up. We want to congratulate Keegan, of course, on his recent win in there in the official series at Talladega. His colors are a little bit off. He's running a new paint scheme tonight from what he ran in what I showed up on my screen in practice. But yeah, that Dude Wipes number 74 car has been quick here tonight. So shout out to Keegan Clark. And yeah, all these fellow young guns here up front. Mark Allen Bivens going to, at least if we start the way we should here in the current order we've got going, with the mix of old pitters and new pitters. He did pit a while ago, so Mark Allen Bivens may be off strategy a little bit, unless he pits on cycle with these other guys here that pitted a little bit more recently, in which case he might be up to second legitimately. But Mark Allen Bivens, of course, won the season opener at Daytona, and that momentum never really slowed down. Mark Allen Bivens, a guy that we're definitely going to want to watch out for in the rest of the season going forward. I think where he currently sits, I don't know if he's still in the top 10 in points. You can rewind after the race back to the pre-race where we showed the point standings to double check that. But yeah, Mark Allen Bivens definitely a guy that we got to watch out for going forward this season. And he's in a pretty favorable spot right now. So yes, the Young Guns definitely making it work tonight here. Very quickly though, before we go too much further, I want to show you the schedule, and it's not up. Okay, so unfortunately that is very annoying. I don't know why the schedule is currently unavailable. That is very annoying. Okay, so we'll give you details, I guess, for the rest of the night about the next race of our season, which is at Nashville Super Speedway. So we got one left to go, but very quickly, just give us a bit of a preview. Chris, don't know if I have you with us next week. Don't know what your plans are, but what are you expecting there next week at Nashville Super Speedway? A pretty new track to our series.
Yeah, it's definitely a new track. I haven't turned a lot of laps there myself. From my understanding, it is kind of like a Las Vegas or Kansas, all those kind of cookie cutter mile and a half, but it is very abrasive. So it's going to be another abrasive track on your tires. You really got to take care of your stuff. So that's going to be another exciting one to watch. Make sure you guys tune in for that one too. Right
back here on Full Send Racing Network next week is where you check that out. But for now, we got a race to finish here at Dover, and it is Curtis Yancey leading the field to green comfortably over Mark Allen Bivens and Brandon Jackson in the background, wasting no time. Action Jackson up to the high side in turns number 1 and 2.
It's going to be really important here for these young guns. I know they're on a little bit of older tires, but they're going to have a lot of pressure from these guys on these newer tires. They just got to hold a pretty wheel here and just kind of hold steady as they have these faster guys coming around them.
Here we go from a fan's perspective there off of turn number 4 as we watch your leaders shoot by here, and yellow flag again. Number 8 on the night. They are picking up in frequency, and this is getting interesting because, again, Curtis will remain your race leader. Brandon did not quite get by him in time and didn't get up there as the pace car is going to shoot right through Ricky Hart Jr., who fakes to avoid it. But, of course, It is not a textured pace car here on iRacing. You don't need to avoid making contact with it. But yeah, I'm almost wondering, as these guys who pitted on lap 50, they continue to get cautions, continue to run laps under yellow. If guys need to pit on the same cycle as them later in this race, as we see Curtis Yancey coming out pit road currently, same with Mark Allen Bivens, I was almost wondering, could we see that strategy work out? Maybe those guys would get to the front, but not to be for now. So Mason Flagar is the driver who brings out the caution, the 7th of the night here, Apex Sim Racing Replay. He just left. There's just no footage of him. I don't know why his feed isn't working.
I think he had some connectivity issues, unfortunately, with the iRacing Sim World. Looked like he was blinking a little bit with his connection, and I think that ultimately caused the wreck.
Yeah, I think you're right. You see there the aftermath there as the 72 car gets spun round and round like a record baby, to quote Dead or Alive. And yeah, that is not the way that he would have liked to end off his night, especially as far up as he was in the field just a moment ago. Remember, he was in the top 2, I think, that last restart. Now suddenly damaged and did stay in the sim, so those connectivity issues that looked like they were going to end his night, they won't, but they are going to certainly harm his current standing as far as the race goes. So Curtis Yancey now leaves pit road in 28th position. Mark Allen Bivens in 29th. So if they can go to the end there and skip a pit stop, maybe even on fuel, maybe the guys, if we go green to the end up front, have to pit. Maybe they don't. Might be favorable, but they are going to be quite a ways back there, 28th and 29th. That's hard to overcome there. But you can't fault guys like that, like Mark Allen Bivens, who qualified all the way back in, what spot was that? 31st. I mean, you can't fault him, Chris, for going with an alternative strategy that, had we got more cautions there in that last little bit, may have worked and may have put him at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. You know, you got to you can't bank on the cautions. You know there's probably going to be some, but at the end of the day, you got to know we're going green flag racing, and this thing can go green from the end from right here. I wouldn't necessarily write a check and take that to the bank, but that is definitely a possibility. I don't think that would have been the favorable winning strategy, but it's going to definitely secure your top 10, especially as the field spreads out. I think that these guys will kind of bring their way back to the front here. I think these guys on these newer tires compared to the guys up front right now, they are probably about 10, 15 laps difference, and that's right where you see the tire fall off start to step in. So these guys will be fast, but it's all about getting through this traffic, and we've seen that be a problem all night.
Yeah, such a thin track, so little room to operate with, and yeah, that could become a question. I think the way this race ends is definitely going to differ, depending on whether it's a green flag finish or whether it's like a 2 or 3 lap restart at the end off a green-white-checkered or something like that. I think if I had to predict off of a green-white-checkered, let's say 2 laps to go, we've seen that outside the line be more dominant so far tonight, Chris. They just get a better run in turns 1 and 2. They usually clear into 3 and 4, if not at the end of the first lap. And then it's just, do you think somebody from the inside line on the last restart could, within 1 lap, make the move there, especially on even tires? I think if you're going to pass the current race leader, who is Brandon Jackson, you're going to have to do it under green, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, certainly. I think no matter where you're going to restart, I think the top does have a little bit of advantage at this point in the race. But if you're on brand new, fresh tires, you're going to want to send it into the turn 1 and 2 and hope for the best, really. It's going to be interesting how this plays out towards the end. As they say, as Clint Boyer says on the live broadcast of the real NASCAR races, the pay window is open and it's time to go. So these guys all know that. We're winding down here at the end, and if we have a green flag run here, this could be it. So this is going to be an exciting restart.
It really, really is. I'm looking back here. Is that Garrett Hall? I think, yeah, driver the number 26. Still a ton of front-end damage on his car. That 26 car has seen better days, so got to wonder if he's going to check the field up behind him. You got to think the number 79 there of Anthony Caetano probably getting ready to take evasive action if he doesn't get up to speed here on the restart. But lap number 89, we're going to start here. About 35 to go here at Dover to finish off tonight's Alba Turns 4, 124 here at Dover. Again, happy birthday to Alba. Maybe we'll pull somebody in the booth here if we get another caution there for that. But here we go. Green flag. Brandon Jackson's back at the front, and he has got a defending series champion there. Brett Guzik in the 04 car. Down there in second place is Ricky Hart Jr., Kevin Foster, the 2 GFR Racing teammates, following through turn number 2. And Nick Nickerson's back up front, the number 2 car, side by side with Keegan Clark. He might take the 5th spot. He will. And the number 2 car, he's back up front. We got 3 GFR Racing cars following behind Brandon Jackson and Brett Guzik up front there for the lead.
Yeah, shout out to Brett. He's been kind of lingering in that top 10, and he's finally got it to work. And I know that he's going to put a lot of pressure here on Brandon here if he can. It depends on how the tires hold up, but here comes Ricky. Look to the inside.
Here comes Ricky, indeed. That one car, like I just said, you want to get those passes done under green. And again, the guy that wants to win this race probably more than anybody else is the number 1 of Ricky Hart. He's peeking under. He's trying it. Looking at the front there of that number 1 car. He is getting close, but man, every lap he spends in the dirty air there, unable to get by Brett Guzik, because one more lap, Brandon Jackson can just charge away up front. Benjamin Lacey kind of dipping out of line a little bit right behind Eddie Hagge. They're side by side to turn number 3. Remember, Hagge had to get in here on the Consolation race win, and he has been quick since he did so. But here comes Nick Nickerson. Don't forget about the number 2 cars. He's getting very close as we come off of turn number 4, and he could definitely throw a wrench in the plans of Ricky Hart Jr. Of course, his teammates. So got to wonder if we'll see maybe more team coordination than you'd otherwise expect. But so far, it has been a great battle between these 2 GFR Racing teammates so far, and they're going to slide up behind Ricky Hart Jr., and Brandon Jackson continues to sit about 4/10 away up front. So that gap not getting any smaller to your race leader. There he goes, though.
This is going to be interesting. Ricky needs to get this move done soon. Yeah, you can see that Brett's getting a little tight on quarter exit. Ricky's just better on getting out of the corner, so he needs to make this move fast, otherwise Brandon's going to run away with this thing.
He really does. I think maybe this is Ricky's opportunity. No, he gets wide in the corner, just sends it way high to the top line. Nick just cleared him fully underneath. There goes the 2 cars. So the teammate's going to swap spots there. I don't think team orders, not this late in the race, but I'm almost wondering there if maybe Nick is going to have a better shot to make some progress there and maybe slow up the 04 car, maybe even the 99 up front. Where is the smoke coming from? There's smoke off the back of somebody. Co Canales, I think, in the 54 car. He is considerably off the pace. Sorry, that's Hayden Paul there, driver of the number 54 car. He's off the pace there, smoking. Hopefully he can stay out of the way of your race leaders. Presley Gilson almost making contact, but does manage to avoid. So we'll keep an eye on that, see if that causes a caution. But up front there, that gap's getting smaller. 4/10 now down to 3.5. Brett Guzik getting closer and closer with each passing second to Brandon Jackson for the race lead.
Yeah, Brandon's not able to run away with this. I think that he, his Nick makes a little contact with Brett there. Always going to make the move to the inside.
He is. That little bit of a tap is going to be all he needs. And down to the inside to turn number 1. He's going to clear him again pretty comfortably, and he's probably going to get some up from the 1 car. You see on board with Brett Guzik off of turn number 2. Just how close that margin is. Hasn't cleared him yet, though. Brett is still there and can hold that line there for just a moment. Getting a little bit loose. There we go. That number 54 of Hayden Paul is off the racetrack. So no damage will come to any of these cars as a result. But here we go. Still side by side. The 04 and the 2. 2 defending series champions. Your most recent 2 in series history, followed by another series champion in Ricky Hart Jr. and another in Kevin Foster. Plenty of experience here, rounding off the top 5, and same with the leader. And that leader has now won a championship, and he's getting further away. Brandon Jackson now almost a second clear for the race lead, but battle continues here between the 04 and the number 2 car. Side by side, Nickerson better on the top line. Brett Guzik a little bit quicker on the bottom. This battle has not ended, and it's not going to anytime soon.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Everybody in the top 5 right now believes that they can go up there and challenge Brandon for the win. And the longer they battle back and forth, the further Brandon's going to get.
Exactly. If they do indeed want to get by Brandon for the win, they gotta settle this pretty quick. But Brett Guzik's still not giving Nick any room there on the outside line. Nick trying his very best to get by and make that run work. But I think Ricky might go with Brett Guzik. His own teammate might get by him there on the inside momentarily. There is Brandon. There's the rest of the field. The rest of the field is looking darn quick here right now. Brett Guzik again, still pressuring Nick up a little bit, trying to just take that run away as much as he can. But up front, Brandon Jackson just smooth sailing there for the 99 car. He is taken off.
Yeah, this is something that we were expecting, right? We were talking to him pre-race. He said that this is a track that he really likes. This really caters to his skill set, and I'm not surprised by it. I'm just interested to see if you guys get this battle worked out here towards the back. What will happen?
Getting later and later in the race here as Ricky Hart Jr. keeping with him there. Again, trying to win tonight for his daughter, whose birthday was this past Sunday. Tonight's race sponsor. He's close. He's in contention, but Brett Guzik there should get the move done, should clear him, and so Ricky should go with him. As we see Brett Guzik just a much better run later on the brakes there into that corner. I don't think Nick got a great run off of 4 last time by, so it's going to be the 1 and the 2, and the 2 slotting back in front. So Brett got the move done. Ricky did not. A little ways up front, Brandon Jackson's now got 1 piece of lap traffic to get by. That's Ismael Padilla, and Brandon gets by without too much issue. So this is the perspective from Brett Guzik, who now tries to go track him down, and I mean, Chris, the gap is now at a 2.5 seconds. Brandon is, I would say, probably used the least tires of anybody in the top 5 just because he wasn't in that battle. He didn't have to, you know, avoid the car up top, avoid the car down low, make sure he gave somebody room. He just had to drive. And do you think as he broke that gap further away a little bit, maybe he was more focused on tire wear than these guys back here, and that might pay off to the end of the race?
You know, it's pretty easy to say. You know, it's saving tires is pretty easy, and going fast is pretty easy, but doing a combination of the both is pretty hard. That's where you look for a veteran driver like Brandon. It's gonna be close. I think that even though Brett was battling there, he is probably one of the best guys on saving tires I've ever come in contact with in iRacing. So I'm interested to see if he can track him down here, but that is quite a long ways to go.
Benjamin Lacey took a peek there underneath Kevin Foster there in the 8 car, but was unable to get it to work. That gap staying pretty static there up front for Brandon Jackson, still about 1.4, 1.5 tenths. Seconds in total. Yeah, that battle there for third. Ricky Hart Jr. now getting by Nick Nickerson that last time by. So the 1 car up ahead, and now Kevin Foster might go with him. We're seeing the GFR guys fighting it out there, rearranging spots, and they've got Benjamin Lacey who's back here up front. Remember, he fell quite a ways back there earlier on based on strategy. He's back there up front, and that number 7 car looking feistier than usual, kind of as he's been all season so far. As we get closer and closer to the end, that gap continuing to shrink a little bit. Brett Guzik now within, 1.4 seconds. So not crazy small, but it's not getting any bigger, which is at least a consolation prize. That's something for now, but looks like Ricky Hart isn't giving up here. I know he's maybe not in the most favorable spot as far as getting all the way back there to Brandon Jackson, but man, he is going to try, and he's breaking away from Kevin Foster. He's breaking away from Nick Nickerson, who's going to get passed by Benjamin Lacey as well. I think this has got to be just a tire thing. You know, maybe he's burned up too much rubber there trying to fight for spots at the beginning, and now Nick uncharacteristically dropping back.
Yeah, it's tough. Once you're battling guys side by side like that, you're really burning up that right front, which is oh so important on a track like this. Battling side by side where you're going to get really tight with that other driver coming off the corner, it's so tough. So it's going to be interesting here. I don't know. Brett has a mirror full of Ricky Hart, and they're both going to be coming here.
Down to the inside, the 7 getting back at him. Benjamin Lacey going underneath, even with some damage there to that rear end of the number 7 car. So back in the top 5, he goes back to where he qualified there in 5th at the start of the race. But up front is Brett Guzik still in a fight here with Ricky Hart. And here becomes the question, Chris. Lap traffic going to start playing an effect, and Brett Guzik's catching him. He's down to within 1 second rather than 1.5 from a couple laps ago. Brandon's got to hold on for 15 more laps, but he's getting close to that lap traffic, and there's some cars that are significantly damaged there. Got to wonder if they'll hold him up. But Ricky Hart, he just peeked to the inside in 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's going to be a big question for Brandon. I think he's already starting to lose the handling on that car a little bit as he's searching a little bit higher up the track. It's not favorable to run up there, but as the car gets tighter, that's just where it wants to be. And managing this lap traffic is going to be very tough, very, very tough. So as the gap closes, I don't know. We're going to see.
It's getting close. Now it's down to 9.5 tenths. Just under a second there. This gap stays at about 2 tenths. So Ricky Hart very close there to the back of Brett Guzik, and he can see Brandon Jackson getting closer and closer, and in turn, that win for his daughter's birthday and tonight's sponsored race getting closer and closer. But up front, the gap opened up a little bit for the lead, but here we go. Ricky Hart's ready to get by. He's had enough waiting. We almost go 3 wide. Brett gets checked up by a lap car, and Ricky will comfortably take over the second spot thanks to the 25 car playing the role of a pick there, just holding Brett up. He's not going to love that particularly, but he's got a chance to fight him back. But Ricky Hart, if you're a Ricky Hart fan, you're looking for him to win the sponsored race. That was about as favorable of a pass for second as he could possibly get for him.
Absolutely, textbook right there. That is how you get it done. And that's a hard guy to pass in Brett Guzik, let me tell you.
So the gap now down to 1 second. It was 1.5 a couple laps back. Let's show your lap time comparison here between Brandon Jackson and Ricky Hart there for the lead as Brandon Jackson goes underneath yet another lap car there for the another spot there. That's Garrett Hall. But looking at the lap time comparison these last couple laps, it has been Ricky faster every time, getting half tenths, full tenths even some laps. He's getting there. This last time by, though, perhaps not so much. I think Ricky catching more lap traffic there than Brandon did this lap, so that gap might get a little bit bigger. But down to 12 laps to go here. as Ricky Hart brings it to within 1.1 tenths. But again, that gap is no longer shrinking, though Ricky is getting by these lap cars, and now nothing preventing him from chasing down Brandon Jackson, at least until Brandon gets that next lap car.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Ricky is really good at conserving the tires, and I think he knows this track really well. So it's time for him to go. He knows it. So it's going to be interesting to see here. I just don't think he has quite enough time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I would normally agree with you. He got a really low line there compared to Brandon. We went on board that last time by through 3 and 4. I think the strategies are fundamentally different, and I think we're going to see it. I think if that momentum is there for Ricky to catch Brandon these last couple laps, we're going to know it all the way through. Like, he shouldn't be slower now and faster later, because I would have thought he'd just be pushing now if he had anything left in him. Brandon, it was a tough time getting by Benny Hogan there. I think he got checked up a little bit in turn 4. So this just becomes the question, Chris, is how fast do these guys get through lap traffic? And if Ricky can get lucky with a couple guys, he might have a shot there. Going real wide off of turn number 2. He's going to get Caetano virtually for free. Hogan's close, but he can't forget about that guy behind him. Brett Guzik is not giving him any room, and Brett Guzik is right there behind him as we come off turn number 4.
Yeah, that certainly doesn't make anything easier when you have a guy like that breathing down your neck as you're trying to hit the best laps you can and try to close for the race lead. It's really going to come down to lap traffic here. If Brandon gets just held up just a little bit, that is going to open up the window for Ricky, and he knows it.
7 laps to go here this time by. Brandon Jackson just has to bring it home, and he could be on for his first race win in almost a full season in the Bandit Racing League. It has been a bit since we've seen that 99 car come home in first place here in one of these races, but he is not done yet. He's got arguably the fastest guy this entire week, arguably the most prepared guy. Up front, Mason Flagar further back in the field. He's gone around. Is that going to bring a caution out? No, he gets to the pits. Thank goodness if you are Brandon Jackson, the last thing you would have wanted there is a caution. So good for him. This race stays green, but 8 tenths now the gap here as we're coming towards 5 to go this time by. He's just running out of time. I think Ricky is going to get close. Brett back to the bottom. Brett's going to send it side by side. That might be the race over for Ricky Hart. He cannot waste time battling side by side with a fellow driver here. He's got a good run off the corner, but now he's going to get checked up behind a lap car. Does the pick go to Brett just like it did to Ricky a few laps ago? It does. The fortune's reversed, so Brett gets that spot back. Ricky gives him a bit of a tap there in the middle of the corner, but I think that is it. I think Pete Gilson being on that specific part of the track there, that specific moment, is what's going to give Brett second, and I think to an even greater extent is what's going to give Brandon the lead here. I don't mean to jinx him or going to give him the win, but we are coming to 4 to go this next time by. Time's running out, and that gap is not getting any smaller.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily give it to Brandon yet. There's a lot of lap traffic right here, and these 2 guys behind him, they are not going to play nice if they get to that back bumper.
What a
Brett really closing in that gap right now.
Holy crap, what a shot there off of turn number 4. That was a beautiful piece of driving there from Brett. Way to keep the run, way to time it. And Brandon is right behind 2 lap cars. And that lap car, the 25 that gave, the 6, I should say, so different lap car.
Oh,
yellow flag.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, I'm sorry, Brandon. I if this is what causes your race to go up in flames, I'm sorry, but I am so excited to see that there. I got to be honest, Chris. I know I said before it's going to be tough to see a green-white-checkered, somebody come from any spot other than the race lead to win it, but what a 2 laps we are in for here. Let's go back to your Apex Sim Racing replay here and see Travis Smith and what went wrong for him. But this is just as he was getting passed by the race leadership. So the 56 of Travis Smith there, and that's not a good camera angle. That's a better one. Going to go back here and see what happened there to the 56, but he's kind of hiding behind a wall here. There we go. Just got a little bit too high in 2. It can be as simple as that, Chris, and suddenly a single driver mistake is all it takes to put this race on red alert for a lot of guys. Guys actually pitting as we speak with only 2 to go, so they were that close on fuel, I guess, or maybe they think tires are more beneficial, but Keegan Clark is in, Cody Welch is in, John Graham, Charles Oberg, Gary Wright are all coming down pit road. And up front, okay, I thought, no, Brandon is pitting. So Jackson down pit road, Jackson, Guzik, holy cow, Hart, Daffin, Nickerson, Foster, Benjamin Lacey, and Eddie Hagee, the top 2 guys to stay out here. What do you think that's just fuel? I mean, it's been about 50 laps since these guys pitted, but these guys here, Benjamin Lacey and Eddie Hagee, they pitted on the exact same lap as these guys coming down pit road. So, I mean, Chris, what strategically are we about to see? And actually, Brandon should come out of pit road. This is the battle off pit road there for the first guy on new tires. These guys on new tires should have a good shot here for the for the race win here if they can get out of pit road in time. Ricky Hart, the first driver on fresh tires off pit road. That could be huge.
That could absolutely be huge. There could be multiple green-white checkers here, for all we know. But I really like the call to stay out. It's a gutsy call. Benjamin Lacey up front, and as we mentioned earlier at the top of the broadcast, he is one of those guys that really knows how to conserve them tires and really use old tires to his advantage. Another guy, Joshua McQuiggan. We were talking about him earlier in the broadcast. Your pre-race or your mid-race pick there. That's a really good move from him. What else do you have to lose? He was running just outside the top 10 right before that caution. And it's really good to see him run up front. And, of course, Eddie Hagge, I was talking about him. He ran the Consolation race. He's sitting there in second. He can make something happen here. All they do is get back to the line. Anything goes after that. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Oh, man. You couldn't have wrote a better end to this. This has been one heck of an experience to come back into the broadcaster booth to a race like this.
Yeah, what a race to have you back here, Chris. Just what an event it's been. So yeah, Benjamin Lacey, we talked about it all year. Benjamin just finds a way there to get back into contention, and he's done it again tonight. Finds himself in the most enviable spot in the field there as we come to 2 to go here on this green-white checkered for the 9th caution of the day. But yeah, I don't see any way that these guys. I think Benjamin is the guy to watch out for. Josh going to start in the second row in the favorable line. Should start behind Benjamin Lacey, I would think, and I wonder if he just gives them a shot. You know, Joshua McQuiggan, and these guys that haven't scored a win yet this season, it's not a win and you're into the playoff system anymore, but you still want to go for that first career win if you can get it. And I would not be at all surprised to see Josh get a little bit more aggressive there up front. But Ricky Hart starting in 7th, best tires of anybody. I just think there's, in 2 laps here, that's like 45 seconds at Dover. That's just a lot of cars to pass in 2 laps, Chris. Do you think there's any chance, even with 50-lap newer tires, that he can find a way past cars that quick?
Oh, man, that sure is tough. That's a lot of cars in front of you to get past in you know, just a couple of corners here. I think he would need a second green-white in order to make that happen and avoid the wreck in the process. You know, I'm really looking at Eddie Hagge here. I know you got Joshua McQuiggan. I know Benjamin Lacey's probably the on-paper favorite, but Eddie Hagge, man, he's got that thing sitting pretty up there on the front row, and let's see if he can get it done.
Well, here we go, man. The lights are off on the pace car. It's going to be 2 to go here off the restart, but what a finish we're in for here. Eddie Hagge could quietly come away with his first career race win. Same with Presley Gilson, who's going to start in that favorable line on the outside of the line. Joshua McQuiggan starting in row 2, but again, watch for this guy, the one car of Ricky Hart Jr. We're coming to 2 to go. He's got the freshest rubber in the field. He does have to beat Nick Nickerson, though, up top there, driving the number 2 car. They were battling a little bit earlier, and the defending champions in their own rights will have to battle it out here. We're going to go one more lap into the pace car. They're going to extend the start by a lap, which is only going to add more stress, I got to think, because, like, Chris, from a driver's perspective, how hard would your heart beating be? Your heartbeat beating if you were any of these guys in the top even 15 this late in the race?
Oh, this is a tough one. You know people are going to be real aggressive here. You know people are going to use the bumper, and you know people are going to do whatever they can to get to the win or even just advance that position. This league is so competitive that just finishing in the top 10, it feels so good. So I know that anybody, especially the guys that haven't won, like Eddie Hagge or Joshua McQuiggan, they're going to be going for this because they know how hard it is to win in this league because we are so competitive here. So this is going to be really interesting. The old adage is that 8 wheels turn better than 4. So let's see what happens here.
Here we go. That outside the line, it's been quick all night. 2 laps to go. I think Benjamin's got to be the odds-on favorite. But again, how much will those new tires come into play? Benjamin Lacey could become the first driver this season to win multiple races this year. The only guy to, he won earlier this season at Las Vegas. And the only other drivers to win this year were Mark Allen Bivens, Nick Nickerson, and Alec Daffin in 4 races so far. Of course, the other being Benjamin Lacey. 2 laps to go here, and the Alba turns 4, 124 here at Dover International Speedway, aka the Monster Mile. That is going to be 129 by the end, because here we go. Lacey up top, Hagge on the bottom. The new tire driver is going to be coming through quick. Green flag, he's waiting, now he's off. Great jump for Lacey, a wreck right off the start. Nickerson tags Hart, and a massive pile up.
Oh my goodness.
Right at the start of the green-white checkered. That is huge. Hart makes it through whatever the opposite of unscathed, very scathed, you could say. Huge damage to the back of the one. But the two of Nickerson, he is fully around. Jackson in the background went around. Henry was around. Massive stuff here, Chris. What do we even say about that?
That's a tough one, man. I think that's just a lot of nerves there. Guys on older tires trying to get going. I see that the 7 got going really well. I think he checked everybody up. I mean, you can't blame him for doing what he's got to do to get the win here. But man, that's a tough one for some of those guys like Brandon. I mean, everybody was ready to seal the deal there on Brandon winning the race, including me and you. So
yeah.
That's a tough one. This is wild. This turned into a wild finish, but this is the last green-white-checkered here. We only get 2 in this series, and this is going to be it. So whatever happens next is going to finish the race.
Yeah, sincerely hoping we don't see the exact same thing happen on another restart. But that was Hunter Henry there, driver the number 9, looking back to just car didn't get going, had no grip up there behind Presley Gilson. So you'll see Lacey gets the jump. The 19 car goes with him, and just nothing. Actually, McQuiggan got a pretty good push, but the 1 and the 2 just nowhere they could go. And actually, Nickerson getting the worst of that. I think Hart getting out in the more favorable spot there up front. But again, damage to Ricky's car. I almost wonder, because he's not the best guy there on new tires. That's actually Alec Daffin, who now suddenly on this next restart, the same spot Ricky was in strategically, but now he starts in 6th on the outside of row number 3. I wonder how much is it going to balance out there. The damage on Ricky's car looks like a decent bit. He seems to not be choosing to come in and fix it. So I guess I think that's essentially race over if you do come down and fix it. But do you think at this point, 50 laps tire difference, Chris, how much better do you think Ricky Hart is, or worse, than the guys on old tires who have clean cars versus the current damage state of his with fresh rubber?
It's tough to say. You know, you get some damage in iRacing and it will really affect your car, and others not so much. I think he's going to be okay. I think he'll still be able to drive to the front here if he can really wrap the outside and drive around some of these guys, but that is definitely a tough situation. That makes coming back and winning this race that much harder. So
we're going to do a kind of a weird makeshift through the field here. Not really a through the field segment as far as who is where, because you can see up top, up left, where guys are. Everybody from 1 to 4 is on very old tires, lap 75. Mark Allen Bivens on tires on lap 86, so a little bit newer. And then Daffin, Hart, everybody back on fresh tires. We're going to go to a through the field here just to talk about a couple guys who are maybe were showing as that they were going to win, like they had the potential to do so, and now they just won't due to that last wreck and a variety of circumstances. So you're going to start with your race leader here. Of course, Benjamin Lacey is current race leader, probably the odds-on favorite with 2 laps to go. You got to think he's the guy to watch for, but again, anything can happen, as we just saw in the Bandit Racing League, so don't punch that ticket just yet. Other than that, Curtis Yancey now on pit road. The 51 car there, that's got to be on fuel that he's got to come down pit road, but he has to pit late. Is going to lose a couple spots there. Might actually stay in the top 12. So he'll be on new tires, might have a shot, but a guy that was earlier on looking pretty favorable to go for the win here. Looks like it will not happen strategically tonight with that late pit stop. Nick Nickerson was just involved in that wreck. Ricky Hart Jr. took away less damage, but is even further back. What a night it was for him. Started on the outside of row number 1. Had potential to go for the win there if that wreck hadn't happened on the last green-white-checkered, but it did, and now he is back in 14th. Other than that, Cody Welch, the night has just not been there for him tonight. He's a guy we always got to talk about, but he's had kind of a quiet night just because terrible luck from start to finish. He's in 24th at the moment, and you got to think he won't move up too many spots because of that. He is a lap down. Other than that, I mean, Brandon Jackson, an obvious one. The 99 car on pit road after that last wreck, his night's done. Heartbreaking to see. Was leading comfortably had we not got a caution there at the end. I said as it happened, sorry in advance, because this is going to be potentially what ends that race for him, but heartbreaking crit. Like, what do you even say about it? Dominant race at the end, and just circumstance, man. Not even the monster mile, not even how chaotic this track is, but sometimes in racing, that's just how it goes. But it seems like it happens to Brandon a disproportionate amount to everybody else these days.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly been on a string of bad luck lately, and he led the most laps this race, and he certainly proved that he was probably the car to beat. It's definitely unfortunate for him, but that's just how racing goes, unfortunately. He was, a handful of laps away from taking the white flag, and this would have not been his worry at all. But, we'll re-rack him next week, and I'm sure he'll be one to beat.
You got to think so. Certainly hope so. But, man, heartbreaking there for Brandon Jackson. So the lights in the pace car are still not off. They're still waiting to let the lap down cars in front of Benjamin Lacey for the lead. Still waiting to let them around. And once we do, it's going to be 1 to green. So we're going to start in lap 133. It'll be 134 laps in the end. So the 124 lap count was chosen specifically because of Alba Hart, Ricky's daughter, tonight's race sponsor, for her 4th birthday. It was 124 instead of 125 as originally planned. Now it's going to be 134. So I think in a weird way, kind of fitting, kind of all works out. Actually, they're still not sending the lead lap cars around. This is very weird administratively. On iRacing's part, some cars going by up front. I think it's better to make sure that we administratively get this perfect as far as race execution goes. The lights on the pace car are off. I don't know what's happening. They're gonna have to throw another yellow if this continues, because you got to make sure the start is clean there for the last green-white-checkered start of the race. But yeah, the lights are back on. So gonna go a couple more laps around here, folks, very quickly. Before we get to the end of the race, probably a good time to mention it. You got a couple more laps there, but remember, myself, Marshall Crocker Jr., driver of, I guess, the number 95. I've never run it before in this series, but that is what I will be running in my one-off appearance this season at Watkins Glen. We're going to move some deck chairs around. We're going to get it figured out. Evan Wall Media is going to broadcast on this very same channel, but Evan will take over production roles, and he will be alongside a mystery commentator that we will determine before Watkins Glen. But for that race there at Watkins Glen, you guys are in control of the paint scheme. It'll be primarily, well, I want to announce the sponsor now. We have a sponsor for the car, so I will be primarily sponsored by one of our series partners. But as far as what you want on it, I'm going to throw it to you guys. We want to get some, participation from the broadcast chat. You guys are what make this series possible. You guys tune in each and every week, support Full Send Racing Network. So I will leave it up to you guys. If you have any ideas, anything you want to put on, even if it's something like a family member, a dog, a quote, a word, anything like that, give us an idea, give us where we should put it, and give us what it is. We'll keep your comment, and by the time Watkins Glen comes around, we will put it on the car and mention who said it and give you a shout out for it. So that is what you want to do. Put it in the comments below and give us some ideas. We'll go back and look at it for every broadcast of the season, and by the end of the year, we'll give you a shout out there. So just a fun little sweepstakes for running for that race at Watkins, and I can't wait to be in the race car. Nights like this, as chaotic as tonight's race has been, makes me really wish I was driving, even if I'm not the best by any means at Dover.
I still think that you're going to be one to beat at Watkins Glen. I know I've seen you take some laps and some of the open wheel stuff, and I'm excited to see you race that one.
I can't wait. I promise I'll be putting over a month of practice in, and I was pretty quick in some of those practices back in the Xfinity cars a few seasons back. So we'll see what I can do. I'll do my very best for you guys to rep the broadcast booth. But for now, 2 to go. Green-white-checkered. This will be the finish to the Alba Turns 4, 124 at Dover. 2 to go. Final green-white-checkered attempt. Guys in the back did not get going. Did anybody on new tires make it through? Alec Daffin did. He's up there in 5th. Driver the number 48 up high. That new rubber could come in handy here. But out front, it's Benjamin Lacey. A great restart. He is 1 lap away from going back-to-back here at Dover after season number 9. Damage to the rear quarter panel. It's not mattering so far. Daffin's getting closer. He's going to get a spot here, but white flag presented by Apex Sim Racing. 1 to go here. Next flag ends the race, and Benjamin Lacey is taken off. 8/10 out in front. To this point in the season, as Alec Daffin gets by another car, Joshua McQuiggan, my pick for the race win. He's not going to get the podium, it would seem, as McQuiggan gets a little bit held up there, but off of turn number 4. The first driver to win 2 races in this season. He does it in dominant fashion there, strategically late, by a 1.5 seconds. Benjamin Lacey wins the Alba Turns 4, 124 at Dover International Speedway. The 7-car conquers the Monster Mile and becomes the first driver this season to take away repeat race wins. What a drive, and just that strategy call you talked about, Chris, the not pitting there at the end. It's what gave him the race win here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a guy here that I thought could pull it off, in that situation, it's going to be Lacey. He's so fast on older tires. He just really knows how to get it done. What a phenomenal finish. Great race all the way around. And, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to go back and look at later on, but, I mean, great racing. Really sucks for Brandon Jackson. Kind of lost. He got one stolen from him there, but overall, I mean, we had a lot of comers and goers, and it's you can't ask for anything better than that. Oh, what a phenomenal finish.
You really can't. Just what a race from start to finish there. And yeah, guys are going to be upset about that. And Absolutely. You gotta feel for Brandon Jackson, no doubt about that. But it was deserved. I mean, the strategy was there. It was a gutsy call. He conserved tires, and you had to, if you were Benjamin Lacey, to make it there to the end. On a single set of fuel. You see him there in the background, Ricky Hart Jr. doing some donuts there on pit road. Heartbreaking for him to. Where did he come home? Came home in 7th. So honestly, for the damage he took away in that last incident, not a bad way to finish. Nick Nickerson as well, who was involved in that last wreck, did make it back to the top 10, so he comes away with a good spot. But Alec Daffin, I think maybe 2-3 more laps there to go, Chris. Maybe it would have caught up again. Maybe could have got his second win in 2 races there on new tires, but he gets another podium, and that's 3 podiums, if I'm not mistaken, in his first 3 races in the series. So incredibly consistent start to the season for him, but right now, it's the Benjamin Lacey Show. Let's get ready for his winner's interview here at Dover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say really quickly, shout out to all of our sponsors, Apex Sim Racing, Perfect Shine Auto Spa. I know I botched that earlier in the broadcast, but shout out to them. Shout out to Kevin for everything he does. Shout out to Bill. And shout out to you, Marshall. I know that you're going to be racing here later in the year, but shout out to you for putting together everything that you do. And it was a really great race. Shout out to Alba. I know your dad didn't win, but I'm sure he made you proud. He gave a valiant effort. So it was a really great race. Thank you for having me, Marshall. It was a blast. I hope we can do this more throughout the rest of the season. And yeah, I can't ask for anything better. Bandit Racing League. Thanks for everybody that stuck around the entire podcast.
It is always a pleasure, Chris. You are arguably one of my favorite sub-in commentators I've ever had, not just in this series, but in general. You know what you're talking about. Such a fun guy to have up here, and just getting that insight from you was great. So I wish you the very best of luck, not only in general, but this season, the Bandit Racing League going forward. Maybe we'll talk to you again, just in general. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for everything you do on the social media side, and just best of luck. Thank you, as always, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. And yeah, make sure you follow us on social media, Bandit Racing League on Facebook and Bandit Racing League on Instagram. Please give us a check out and give us a follow where you can. And make sure you follow Full Send Racing Network on YouTube. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know every time we're going live. We all really appreciate that. Me and Marshall and everybody with Bandit Racing League included. So thanks again, Marshall. Have a good rest of your night.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. You too. With that, it is now time to bring another voice into the broadcast booth, and it is not a co-commentator. It is your race winner. Second time this season, Mr. Benjamin Lacey. Let's get him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Benjamin, Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Benjamin's second win of the season, the first repeat winner to do so here, and you did it in exciting fashion there. Incredible strategy call there at the end, as I've always said you're known for in my mind. You make the gutsy call. You didn't pit after lap 75. We go a couple extra cautions. Guys pitted late. You didn't, and in the end it paid off. Talk about that strategy call there late, and were you at all worried those new tire guys were going to get you at the end?
Definitely was worried. I think Curtis and Ricky and a couple other guys, I think they had pitted a little bit earlier, and they had some more fresh tires than I did for sure. But I was kind of counting on those green-white-checkers to come through to the end, and then hopefully enough people stayed out to kind of hold them up just enough to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and you definitely had to hold guys up there towards the end. That first green-white-checkered was looking like it was going to be tough, and just the chaos there that abounded from that start. I think it was Hunter Henry behind you, didn't get going. A bunch of guys checked up. So how much of a weight off your shoulders was that, seeing those guys on fresh tires that were kind of taken out of the equation there?
It was a little relieving, but still, I think Curtis was up there. I think Nick was still going up and around. So I mean, the thing with Dover, the tires are so fast on fresh ones. You're about 2 seconds faster, so you can make up some good time in a matter of a lap. So 2 laps here could be a long one. So seeing that happen, it's unfortunate for him, but it did kind of give me a little bit of a breathing room.
Yeah, you came extremely close there at the end, but again, you get it done there late. And kind of going back 2 weeks there, just to talk about a former race there, looking how close you came at Auto Club, you could argue that maybe that car, road course aside, maybe the 7 car should be 3 in a row. It's very close to 3 in a row with how quick you've been lately. Alec finishes runner-up this time, whereas you finished runner-up to him last time. This run of form you're on, Benjamin, it has been incredible. We've seen a new side to that 7 car this season. That new TLP media sponsor's working well for you. So almost 3 wins. You're the first guy to 2. Just talk about the first 5 races of the season, and do you think this is something you can continue for the rest of the regular season, maybe challenge guys like Nick Nickerson for the regular season title?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, these have been some fun tracks, Auto Club, Vegas. Those have been some of my favorite tracks to go to. Dover's it's a tough one to drive. Oh, there goes the motor. Um, it's a tough one to drive. I mean, it's one of those where you got kind of like a hill kind of going in and out of the corners and the banking and everything like that. It's tight, but wide at the same time. So takes a little bit. Strategy is what kind of did it tonight. I wouldn't say I was the fastest. There were some definite people. Nick had some good pace tonight. Brett's always fast here too. So um, I'm feel bad for my teammates too. Tony and Cody, they kind of had some rough night tonight. So hopefully they'll be able to rebound and come out next week. But got the win for the team. So yeah, hopefully we can continue the streak and keep putting together top fives.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been an incredible, again, run of form, something we haven't seen from anybody so far yet this season. The consistency just seems to be coming to you where it isn't to a lot of other guys. So, Benjamin, I mean, tonight was just a great drive from start to finish. A lot of guys showed pace, but to close it is something different. Kevin Harvick was always the real-life NASCAR closer, and that title may be shifting to you pretty soon because, man, you've proved in the past you can really get it done there when it counts towards the end. So you know what to do here, Benjamin. I mean, you've been here the first guy to be in the first interview of the night multiple times this season, and I know you got some sponsors there, some people to shout out, so now's your time, man.
Yeah, TLP Media, the last pack. Thank you guys for coming on board. Appreciate it. Also want to give a shout out to Alba. Happy birthday. Hope you've had a great day and wish you a very happy next year. And you guys in the booth, I think Chris is up there with you. Evan, you, Marshall. You guys do a great job, so appreciate what you do. And then I think we have Perfect Shine. All of our sponsors for our league, man. You guys are great, so appreciate what you guys do.
Perfect. Much appreciated as always there, Benjamin. And yeah, man, just what a year. It's always incredible to watch guys that just get better and better as the season goes on, and you have just been the guy to watch so far this year. You might have the championship points lead as well coming out of tonight. So going into next week at Nashville, I wish you the best of luck. Get ready and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Because yeah, that closer title, I think you're one race win away from making it reality.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week.
Awesome. Good luck, Benjamin, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Well, there you go. Again, that run of form from Benjamin, just possibly the best we've seen in the last season and a half here on the Bandit Racing League. Even last year was up in the air. I don't think we saw anybody that could just week over week rattle off consistent performances that much better than those around them. But this year, we have been seeing that from Benjamin Lacey, and just what a championship run it's been for him. A guy that's been known for consistency, been known for making the top 4, top 8 in the championship in the past. Tonight could be the night that he does even better than that. On to your second place finisher, a guy that, again, had we had a couple more laps, maybe would have competed for the race win there and would have been his second in a row. The guy that beat Benjamin very narrowly the week before. It is Alec Daffin. Let's get him in the broadcast booth momentarily. There we go. Now we should be good to go here. So off to your second interview here, and up top you can see your final results for tonight's race here in the Alba Turns 4 124 at Dover. So find out where your favorite driver ended up finishing in the end here. But here we go. Let's get him in the broadcast booth, Mr. Alec Daffin. Hey, Alec, is Marshall up in the broadcast booth? You got a copy?
I do.
Hello, Alex. Second week in a row, or second, I guess, series race in a row, we're talking to you, and you came so darn close. Maybe 2 or 3 more laps there on fresh tires. You may have had Benjamin. So just talk us through there late, what it was like reacting to that crazy wreck on the first green-white-checkered attempt, and then with new tires, trying to get by those old tire guys there at the very end.
Yeah, I kept us straight through that wreck, but unfortunately I got a little bit front-end damage in that, so that wasn't ideal. But then we restarted, I guess, 6th there on the second green-white-checkered, and I was down a little bit RPM, but it was maybe 20 or 30 RPMs, wasn't too bad. And then I was caught behind Josh there. He was holding me up quite a bit, but he's my buddy, so I didn't want to wreck him or anything. If I could have got around those guys pretty quickly, I probably could have caught Lacey for the win. But either way, I mean, I didn't have the best race tonight. I was running back half the top 10 at best, just making too many mistakes and all that. But I was set up to finish 5th or 6th there, which even that I'll call a good day. But I wasn't happy when that first caution came out. But ultimately, helped me get second out of it, so I'll take it. Didn't deserve it, but I'll take it though.
But hey, it's another great run in your recent run of form there. Just what a start to the season it's been for you. I was updating the points today prior to tonight's race, and just I hadn't had them updated prior to, I think it was race 2, just because we didn't get a chance to for a couple weeks. So you weren't on my point spreadsheet, and to put you in there, and in only 2 or 3 races, you were already up to like 12th. It really shows how quick you've been out of the gate here, and to get another podium there late, efficient cautions or not, you did it yourself, and just, man, what's it been there? What seems to be clicking for you? And is this just building confidence week over week that you think will go forward in Nashville and Indianapolis?
Well, first off, I had no idea where it was in points ever since Coda, but I don't know. I mean, I've just been having success. I feel like, not trying to brag, but I feel like I'm one of the better drivers in the league, so that definitely helps having speed. But also had some good luck. I've had good races for the most part. Just not making too many major mistakes, and just like I said, just having things go my way. Like I got some damage in that wreck tonight, but I was able to still keep the car straight and get a good finish out of it. So even when you can't win the race, you just gotta try and perform your best and just do the best you can. So I feel like I've been doing that pretty well.
I think you have, and your best has clearly been good enough there. Because yeah, now multiple podiums in your time in the series, and yeah, your second consecutive podium there at two very different but very difficult racetracks in their own right. So going forward now, again, like I mentioned, we go to Nashville next week, kind of back to the cookie cutter style of ovals, then a very different track in Indianapolis. You've shown success at 3 straight weeks at a road course, then a large 2-mile speedway, and then a 1-miler like Dover. So we go to a mile and a half, and then to Indianapolis. What should we expect to see from the 48 car in the next 2 weeks?
Nashville's kind of hit or miss for me. I think if I practice right and select the right steering box and all that, I think I can probably run pretty well there. Hopefully, top 10 at the minimum. Indianapolis, I'll be real, that is not my best track. I have a couple league wins there, or actually one league win, I think, but I don't usually run super well there, so I'm definitely gonna have to get in some practice and make sure I'm performing at my best. Hopefully, I have some good luck. So I probably won't be winning there, but should still hopefully get top 10, top 15. But Nashville, I think I can probably run pretty well. I don't know if I'll win that either, but I mean, still, hopefully top 10s in both races would be good, I think.
Well, hey, bet on yourself, because we on the broadcast side definitely are going to be the rest of the year. You've only shown pace this entire season, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So for the second week in a row, yeah, if anything you want to say in terms of shoutouts, if you got any sponsors you want to mention, just anything you want to say, now's your chance to do so.
Yeah, thank you to my team, Shaw Racing, for supporting me. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast tonight. Also, shout out to my Twitch channel. That's 4LEXBOWM810. I stream every race I do for the most part. Thank you for Bill for putting on the league. And yeah.
Perfect. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. As always, again, Alec, and I get the feeling you're going to be one of those voices we're talking to quite a bit this season. So I'm sure we will, I don't mean to jinx it, but I'm sure we'll see you sometime in the near future. And until then, best of luck. Good luck at Nashville. And again, congratulations tonight, man. An incredible performance there late, and you capitalized on the chaos of tonight's race at Dover.
And the announcer Jinx, nice job.
Yeah,
Now
sorry
it's
about
good.
that. I gotta mix it around. I'm always giving it to these guys, and I'm like, this is their week, man. They're gonna do it. I gotta start giving it to the guys that are finding success every week, and that's Benjamin, and that's you. So, good luck, man. Something to overcome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
See ya. There you go. Second interview of the night with a guy for the second week in a row who makes the podium there and is very recent string of success in the series, but only recent because he's only been here a couple weeks. Not you can't find success too much longer than that if you haven't been in the series. So pretty good logic there, I would say. And now it is time to go to a first-time podium sitter there, a guy that we didn't really get a chance to talk to about with the talk about much of the crazy chaos tonight at the end. But let's just get Mr. Presley Gilson's info there updated, and we will go to your final driver here on the podium. There we go. We are ready to go tonight for your final interview here in tonight's Alba Turns 4 124 here at Dover, and that is with Presley Gilson, driver of the number 19. Let's get him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Presley, is Marshall up at the broadcast booth? You got a copy?
I do.
Welcome, Presley. First career podium here in the Bandit Racing League. You put that number 19 car to good use there late, and it was a mix of everything, man. That strategy at the end, it seemed crucial, and just talk us through, the split between guys on old tires, guys on new tires, what you were thinking at the end there, and maybe how that late race, green-white-checkered immediate caution, how did that play into the finish of the race for you?
I mean, it worked out well. I was expecting a lot worse considering all the delayed yellows, I was really worried I was going to run out of fuel. I think I finished with less than a gallon remaining, so I was a little worried. But I knew if I pit and took tires that I wouldn't have finished anywhere up towards the front. So it was stay out and maybe get passed by a few guys or pit and finish 10th or 11th. So I just, I went with my gut and stayed out and hoped for the best, and it seemed to work out.
Right, and you stuck with it. You come away with a third place and a pretty good little scrap there at the end with Alec Daff in those last 2 laps. And just generally speaking, man, it was a really interesting race for you. I remember early on you had a little bit of trouble. You had a couple wrecks that you got kind of tangled in, not necessarily that you caused, but that you were just involved in there early. So as a driver, how was it trying to, mentally snap yourself back into a place of going for the win? And just how do you think you evolved? Do you think you learned the track at all or got better and better as the race went on?
After, I got up in the front and led a couple laps early on, and then, when I pit, I did get involved in the crashes. I got punted into one and then punted into another one, and I was like, I'm just gonna ride it out. And I kept feeling the car build tight, so I started trying to crank the wheel a little bit more on exit to break it loose and try to burn off that right rear, just to even out, and not get so tight long run, and that helped out a lot. Not enough because it still got pretty tight on the long run, but it was much better late run for me than it was in the first few runs that we had green flag running. It was a lot better.
Well, man, it's so awesome to get somebody new here up in the broadcast booth, and after again it's such a crazy, chaotic race, but the fact that you earned it there, coming from a little bit of adversity there, coming all the way back through, getting your first career podium. So I got to ask you, this is the general question I like to ask guys that I get to talk to for the first time up here in the broadcast booth. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you identify yourself as a driver, how you would explain yourself from a driver's perspective, and just what's the feeling, first career podium in a league you're fairly new to. Just what should we expect from the 19 car week over week?
I'm more or less come out to have fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I try to be competitive, but I'm here to have fun. I don't want to be a back marker by any means. If I'm not in the top 10, I'm kind of upset with myself. But I like to. I don't have to come out and win every race. I'm gonna race clean. I'm gonna race hard. If I get into you, I'm gonna be the first person to apologize. But I'm definitely. Don't get me wrong. I definitely want to be in the first as soon as possible. But I'm here to have a good time, and then it's not my first league race, so I'm here to, I know a few of the guys, so I'm here to have a good time with them.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I that attitude of I'm going to be the first guy to apologize if something goes wrong. As a Canadian, I can personally identify with that quite a bit, and I really appreciate that attitude there. So it is awesome to get a chance to talk to you here, Presley. We will not consider you a back marker at any point. Once you get a podium in the series, you're pretty set. It's going to be a guy that we always watch out for. We always try to talk about whenever we can. So again, congratulations, my man, for a great race tonight. And this is your first time in the broadcast booth, so I'll give you the spiel. If you got any sponsors, any friends and family that are watching you tonight you want to shout out, anything in general you want to talk about, now's your chance to then do the interview.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and thank Bill for putting on the league. I mean, seems like a good group of guys in here. Had fun. I want to shout out SRD Setups. I have an esports team, so we actually build the setups for SRD. If you want to go run a C Open, B Open, A Open, we put those sets out there. The esports team is North Force Racing. Back-to-back Pro Series champions, hoping to make it a three-peat this year. Appreciate all them guys over there. Appreciate everybody over here. Appreciate you putting on the broadcast so everybody gets to watch it back and enjoy it. That's about it, man.
Perfect. Great to get a chance to talk to you, man. And no, this is why we do it, for great races like tonight, great finishes, and for first time interviewees. And tonight that is you, first career Bandit Racing League podium, and hopefully the first of many there for you, Presley. So best of luck going forward. You got Nashville next week, Indianapolis, got some tracks to prep for, but I know we'll see that 19 in there up towards the front once again, and I wish you the best of luck in doing so.
I appreciate it. It's great meeting you too.
There we go. That'll round off the final interview of tonight's race here at Dover. And the Alba turns for 124 here at Dover. That'll about round us off. We got a couple more things to go to. First of all, I'm not going to list them off because there's 40 drivers here. You guys can read through them. But presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa, as always, of course, one of our favorite, one of our title series sponsors. We want to thank them, as always, for everything they do. Perfect Shine Auto Spa. The link is, as always, in the description below. Go check them out there at their website, as they do a ton to support the series. But your final results here, let's just run you through your top 10 there at the end. Benjamin Lacey gets his second race win of the season, first repeat winner of the year, ahead of Alec Daff, and he gets revenge for the flipped finish in the top 2 at Auto Club. And it's Presley Gilson, first career podium there. Very quiet fourth for Jason Greenwell, but great chunk of points there for the 83 car. Mr. Pompous himself, as we call him in this series, for those of you that don't know it. I'm sure I'll explain it at some point in the future. Curtis Yancey, though, pretty good night for him. He pitted there late, and it paid off. The 51 car gets the top 5 there to round off his night. Joshua McQuiggan, my pick for the race there about midway through. Didn't come away with the win, but did come away with a good chunk of points. He finishes in 6th ahead of Ricky Hart Jr., man. Heartbreaking the way it ended for him. I think had we not got that first caution, new tires, would have had a shot there to go for the race win. Unfortunately, tonight, he will have to settle for 7th. After that, it's Eddie Hagge there. Won the consolation race, raced his way into the field, and then went all the way up to get 8th. Great finish for him. Then it's a GFR Racing 9th and 10th as Kevin Foster and Nick Nickerson round off the top 10 and get themselves a fair chunk of points. We'll just jump down the final order here. You saw it up on the top during the interviews, but just to make sure everybody finds their favorite driver, make sure nobody's missed out upon. And with that, that'll about wrap us off. We got to thank our sponsors here one more time. There you go. That should round off tonight's field there. So with Sean Britt in the 43rd spot, really good in qualifying just tonight. Did not come together for him, unfortunately. But back to me. I will admit my room is very warm right now. I'm back to the old setup. You may notice in the background it is not the typical university dorm. It's been most of the last couple races of the season. Now we're back home, so back in the old setup. We'll work to make it better and fancier. It's just haven't been here long, so we'll see what we can do over the next few weeks. But yeah, we're back in the old setup as usual, and hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight as we're back in the old venue. But so I want to thank our sponsors here that was still along the bottom. Of course, iRacing is always the sim that allows us to put this on. Thank you as always. Geezer Authentics for our sponsor for all our merch, and they are our merch providers at geezerauthentics.com. Like it says always in the description. New stuff, bigger and better, coming out in the next couple weeks. Just got to get some stuff figured out on our end. But there is all of the driver merch and all the very cool Bandit Racing League affiliated stuff there. Anything you could want, phones, phone cases, glasses, shirts, sweaters, anything. Go check it out there at geezerauthentics.com. Apex Sim Racing. Use code BANDIT there for 10% off of your purchase. And they are a provider of all things sim racing, accessories, like actual sim racing equipment. So that could be button boxes, that could be steering wheel bases, anything. Anything you need to get yourself started in sim racing. If you want to get started in here, you want to eventually join the Bandit Racing League one day, that is where you go to get started. Use code BANDIT. Thank you so much to Apex Sim Racing League or Apex Sim Racing for supporting us here in the series. Then Perfect Shine Auto Spa, I just mentioned, one of our closest sponsors there through Kevin Foster. Thank you as always. Go check them out at their link in the description below. And Full Send Racing Network, that is myself, that is me, that is the channel, and that is usually Evan Wall alongside me. Again, unfortunately, he was not able to make it tonight, but of course in future weeks he'll be back. Won't be too long until you see him. So it was as always a pleasure to have somebody subbing in for him tonight. That was Chris Ferrara. So on behalf of FSRN, we want to thank Chris again for doing such a great job tonight. Always great to have Chris joining us in the booth, and just so comfortable. He slots right in and is very well spoken. Hopefully he provided you guys some really nice context tonight. I know he certainly did on my end. And after that, it's just EvanWallMedia.com. Evan Wall is the guy who makes all the graphics for this series. EvanWallMedia.com. He released some really cool new documentaries actually recently. So, documentaries, sort of some films, some cool new videos on his channel. So Evan Wall, Evan Wall Media on YouTube as well. Not just the website, but the link to the YouTube is on his website. So you can go to the website. It's also linked in the description. Anything I mentioned in this series, there's a link for it in the description if there's not, mention it. And there will be one in future weeks, but I think that should cover about everything. So that'll about cap us off, everybody. I am, as always, your host, Marshall Crocker Jr. I don't always mention it at the start of the race. We have a graphic for it. It's just got some names on it that aren't with the channel currently, so we can't use it. But we'll get something better for you in recent weeks or in future weeks. And, of course, I'm Marshall Crocker Jr., the guy that puts this on, series founder, producer. Might not be the producer in a few weeks, but for now, I'm still holding down the duties as far as that goes. So that'll cap us off. Again, we want to give a huge shout-out to Ricky Hart's daughter, Alba, for being the sponsor of tonight's race. Happy birthday, Alba. She celebrated her 4th there on Sunday. So I hope she has a very nice year. Four's a pretty big one. I think 4 was a pretty fun year for me. And first race at Dover, and her dad did pretty darn well using his experience from just seeing that race there. So that'll round us off, ladies and gentlemen, for the Alba Turns 4 124 at Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile, the 5th round of the 10th season of the Bandit Racing League, which is the Geezer Authentics Xfinity Series. I am Marshall Crocker Jr. on behalf of Full Send Racing Network and the entire Bandit Racing League. Thank you for watching tonight, everybody, and we'll see you back next week for Nashville Superspeedway, the 6th round of the season. Have a good one, everybody, and we will see you all next Wednesday.